yo, what's up, everyone? What's up, Devin?
Hey, Raj. Nice to
How
see
you
you.
doing? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Once again, we get to have some legends on the show, and I'm looking forward to today's lineup. We have.
Wait, hold on. We can't just like start there. You gotta tell the people how your week was. You were doing some exciting things because everyone missed you on the show a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah,
we need to know where you were. I told everybody I had no idea where you were, and frankly, I was upset. But
it was top secret.
We're not gonna fight on the air.
No, I was at the 99-cent store just shopping. So no, it was really cool. I was actually with Mr. Jason Mraz. We were doing some reggae ting, man. We were recording a reggae album, and then we had 3 live shows to kind of, play the songs that we recorded along with an album that I did with him in 2019 called Look for the Good. So, dude, I had 2 weeks of just straight up Mraz Reggae Camp.
Nice.
Is what we called it. Yeah, it was really, really fun. And I recommend everyone out there to go and check out Look for the Good. It's on Spotify. That's the album we did. And we recorded a bunch of new material, so I can't wait for y'all to hear that. But yeah, man, I heard the last show was pretty interesting.
Yeah, there were some technical difficulties, but you know what? It went really well. And Errol's such a cool guy. It all worked out. And I hope everyone checks that out. And everyone should go also check out. We had Mr. Jason Mraz that Roger is mentioning on the PodClash a few months ago now. I guess it's more than that, but go check that one out as well.
Dude, speaking
that was a great episode.
Because you say a few months ago, we've been doing this for a year.
That's right.
Now, not just about a year. I think Facebook put one of those memories up, and we've been doing this for I think our anniversary is
it was like late April 2020, right?
Yeah, this week or something. So cool.
Wow. What a crazy year, huh? We don't need to. It was crazy for everybody.
Crazy for everyone, but one thing that really, came out of it that was really positive was the show.
Yep.
And we've gotten to really sit down and interview and talk with many, many OGs in the scene and many up-and-coming artists in the scene. So we're definitely blessed to have this kind of blossom out of that old 2020 over there, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's been amazing, and tonight is no exception because we have some of the architects of the blueprint of Jamaican music are joining us tonight. Tony Chin and Santa Davis from the legendary Soul Syndicate, and we're going to be bringing them on in about 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, man.
But before we do, Roger, I think you got some news you want to talk about with the people.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into our news segment. So check this out, everyone. Cali Roots Radio has moved from the Joint. They moved over to Spectrum on Sirius XM. It's every Monday at 8 p.m. PT, and it's on Sirius Radio XM, channel 28. I think is the channel. I'm positive it's the channel 28. And this week's show is hosted by the real Dan Sheehan, California Roots producer and talent buyer. So listen on your radio. You could listen on the website SiriusXM.com and go scope it out there for the reruns. But yeah, they've made a little switch. So
that's a big move.
Yeah, huge. Really cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, man.
It's a great show. It's a great show. Well, spring is here, as we were just mentioning, and there's tons of new music coming out, which is awesome. And touring is slowly but surely starting to come back. Shows are starting to come back. So we want to mention that everybody should really go to rootfire.net and check out their reggae release radar. You can also check it if you follow Rootfire on Instagram, which you really should. And every Monday they put out the reggae release radar, which lets you know about the new music coming out. And it's everything from, new school artists, new school Jamaican artists, new school American artists, old school Jamaican artists putting out all kinds of whatever it may be, but it's all in the reggae world. And check it out because they really, really got their ear to the ground of everything that's coming out. And also keep an eye on rootfire.net for show announcements because we know there are lots of big acts that are about to announce tours. And we even know about some of them, which we can't talk about here on the air yet, but just know that some big announcements are coming. So stay tuned to rootfire.net for all of that. You'll be happy you did. And the last thing I want to mention, VP Records, Carter from VP hooked us up with these calendars that have birthdays of reggae figures on it. It's great. And so now I know when everyone's birthday is. And this Friday, April 30th, is the great Barrington Levy's birthday. So we want to say happy birthday to Mr. Barrington Levy. And please come on the Reggae PodClash sometime.
Yes. That'd be sweet. That'd be cool.
It would be really cool. And, speaking of VP Records, they are also, they have been good enough to host the giveaways we've been doing. We've been able to give away some great music through them. This week is really no exception. We are giving away a 7-inch repress copy in this really nice 45 sleeve here of Ice Cream Love, the classic tune by Johnny Osborne. Everybody knows this tune. Originally on the Jaw Guidance print, and VP has reissued it in a really nice package here. I like when they do these like 7 inches with good art on it, because it's usually a 7-inch sleeve is just, just a blank piece of paper. And I like when people get creative with it, but it sounds great. The mastering, they did a really good job. And the version side is a Roots Radix Scientist mix at King Tubby's. So definitely try to enter to win this. You can do so in the YouTube description. Just go to the YouTube page, and you can find in the description a link to enter this contest. And you can also enter through the description on the Apple Podcast as well. Go win yourself one of those. And speaking of records, we want to play you guys some records before we bring on Tony Chin and Santa Davis. Roger, I think you're going first this week. What you got for us?
Yes, I got a really, really nice tune that I actually heard a long time ago when I was young. It was off a compilation called Mojo Rocksteady. I think the cover's like pinkish or something like that. Yeah,
that's a great one.
Great comp, but it's one of those comps that you just remember have had it. Like, oh, I remember it was in my car, and it disappears into the black hole of CDs wherever they go. And
that compilation had a tune by the Bassies called River Jordan. That's one of my favorite Rocksteady tunes that I've always still been trying to find on vinyl. It's a beautiful tune. Anyway, continue.
Also, no. Also, to piggyback that album is so special because I've never heard an alternate version of Fire Corner by King Stitt, and there's a song on there called Rocker's Corner, and it is like an acoustic version, if you will, of this like '69 kind of, skinhead reggae kind of thing. I've never heard a tune like that before. Obviously, Fire Corner's a hit, but it really is stripped down. It just has guitar, bass,
right,
and King Stitt. And actually, as a musician, that was one of the tunes where you felt this swing, and you just didn't know how to describe it, and you could kind of dissect and hear what the bass was doing, hear what the guitar was doing, and then from there on out, you would, whatever band I was in at the time would be like, I'd be like, hey, do that. It's right here.
Right.
So that's another cool thing about that compilation is that tune. I've never seen it anywhere. Rocker's Corner. Go look it up. But this tune is my favorite on the whole comp.
Nice.
And it's by Denise Darlington, and the song is called Feels So Good. And we'll talk more about it after.
Here it is.
Reggae so enchanting. It makes me feel like dancing. Yeah, I like the reggae style. So play it all the while. Whoa, yo.
Yes,
Nice.
man. That's
Heavy.
my tune.
Heavy.
I'm going to go ahead and say, man, if I had to make a list, top 20, it'll be in my top 20 for sure.
Nice.
I know it sounds weird, top 20, but think about it. There's
No, you
so
got it.
many
I
good-
mean, like something could be in your top 50 and it's still like an all-time tune, you know?
for sure. It still says something, right?
Yeah.
It still says a. And so you listen to this song, and there's so many cool things about it, right? Well, first off, Denise Darlington, what happens when you hear a really cool song? You look at the artist and you try to, dig and try to find more tunes. And I couldn't find anything by her other than another song called War No Right, which is also on Studio One. And if you guys
Ooh,
want to
okay.
hear that, you can find it on Soul Jazz. Has a compilation called Studio One Women, which is a great comp.
Yep.
Soul
All those
Jazz-
soul jazz are so good.
just killer stuff, right? So I listen to this tune and I'm like, everything is perfect about it. As a musician, I get in these conversations with other musicians. I'm sure we've had this talk. But when a lot of people write a song, they don't really think about melody. They'll write lyrics and maybe it'll be kind of just, a straight ahead kind of rap melody or not many notes. In my eyes, a really successful song is one that you could strip the lyrics from and play it on the piano, the melody, right? This falls into that category for sure. And also, if you can have more than one chorus in a song, then you're winning. And what I mean by that is like, usually the chorus is like the sing-along part. But if you can incorporate like, okay, stage A, B, and C, and every single part of the song you want to sing to is its own like mini chorus, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's what I get from this song. And of course, the Studio One chug that I like to
that's
call.
a chuggy.
That's a chug, man. I mean, you can't beat it. There's something about, the Jackie Matu piano and, of course, the guitar and the organ, everything that follows. So that's why, I kind of like sit back as a musician and dissect songs and go, well, why do I gravitate towards this so much? And why is it such a killer tune? And I think that's why, man. Obviously there's no equation to it, but, I
No.
really enjoy singing along to this one.
That era of Studio One, that sound dimension sound that we call a chugger because of the organ, it really I feel like it doesn't get talked enough about. And I know you and I have talked about it on the show before, but that pattern, any organ player trying to just expand their vocabulary in Jamaican music should really just listen to that. That way, it's not just like a bubble going like ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, right? It's like
Right.
it's just like a constant like it's
Yeah.
it's busy, but it just fills the right spots. It doesn't step on any toes, right? Because if you think about it in juxtaposition to what the skank is doing, they're all landing in different places, right? It's like that's what the bubble's always doing. And if you add that, the guitar is still landing in the middle of that. So it just sounds like it creates a groove that really doesn't exist in any other genre, but even like within reggae music doesn't really exist anywhere else.
Right. Reggae music to me is, as stupid as it sounds, it's upbeats and downbeats, right? And I think that that's why we go into a club and we start bobbing our head. It's because we're feeling this pull of an upbeat and a downbeat, and what you're describing is feeling that, it's satisfying the upbeat and downbeat, but also feeling it in, because it's just this whole machine that's just
Right.
rocking out. And geez, when it comes down to it, you just can't describe Studio One. Anything that comes from Studio One is gold. There's so much good music that came out of that. The Motown of Jamaica. You can't put any other studio above that in Jamaica.
No.
As much as I try to come with a close second, it's just Studio One and Coxsone, something magical for sure. But yeah, man, if anybody wants that record, you can find it. It's a reissue on Soul Jazz Records. Go check it out.
Nice.
Go check out Discogs. Get yourself a copy. Devin, what do you got?
All right, this week I've got a record by Prince Jasbo. And, Prince Jasbo is probably my favorite DJ from that era, like the U-Roys and I-Roys and all that stuff. I think Prince Jasbo has just always been my favorite. It's just a personal thing. I love his voice, and I love his phrasing, and I love his lyrics. I just think he's my favorite from all of those guys. And he, of course, has my favorite DJ record of all time is this, Prince Jasbo, Ital Corner, mixed by Lee Scratch Perry. If anyone has the classic Super Ape album, there's a tune on there called Croaking Lizard, and it doesn't say on the record that that's Prince Jasbo, but it is Prince Jasbo. And if you like that tune, it's the second song on Super Ape. this whole record sounds just like that. It's like heavy Lee Perry, Black Ark production from the prime of the Black Ark, and it's Prince Jasbo just in wicked style. I read, who knows if this is true, but I read that he did that whole album like as a freestyle in one day, just like was putting on rhythms and did it. It's my favorite DJ record, and so I always, since I heard that, I always like would check for Prince Jasbo, and I found this tune, and we're gonna play it right now. It's like an early '80s, I think. I don't know for sure. It doesn't say on it, but it sounds like it. But I want everyone to listen to a couple things in it. There's like dubby mixing throughout, which makes me think it's scientists engineering it and mixing it, because you would hear that a lot in the late 70s and early 80s, where it's like the engineer was dubbing it, but it's not a dub tune. Like there's vocals throughout the whole thing, but there's lots of bass and drum segments. There's lots of times where like dubby things are happening. And to me, that makes me think it's scientist combined with some other things. Also check out what the organ and guitar are doing. They're just doing some really nice things throughout. And then listen to the bass. It's a really simple line in terms of the melody he's playing, but the phrasing of it, like really, to me, matches and emphasizes the vocal phrasing that Prince Jasbo's doing. He's just doing kind of like your typical, 70s, early 80s, like toasting, DJing phrasing, but the bass is really like matching it. So check out the dubby mixing and the guitar and the organ and what the bass is doing. And this is a tune by Prince Jasbo called Slum Chant.
The time like this, come on, I tell you, say the time so tough, It's in time like this, come on, I tell you, say the time so rough. Me say me walk on the street, me say the Babylon are brutalized. Walk on the street, me say the Babylon are criticized. Me can't walk street at night. Me say me can't walk the street at night. Come on, me say the soldier man a come with gun. Come on, me say the soldier man a come with bomb. Come on, I say the policeman a come with bomb. And put away them a go run, away them a go run, away them a go run when Selassie I come. Away them a go run, away them a go run. Me say away them a go run when Selassie I come. Away them a go run when the emperor come. Them a go run to the rock for a hiding place. Run to the hill for a hiding place. Me say away them a go run, away them a go run. Them a go run and tumble down. Born and me grow in the slum. Me say me born and me grow in the slum. Mama me say me never carry bomb nor gun. Mama say me never carry bomb nor gun. Me say me deal with shoes. I'm a love right one, deal with truth and rights. Me say that them can't understand, say them wrong. Them can't understand, say them wrong. Me say that every little thing I say them can't me go to station. Every little thing me say them can't me go to station, and them can't understand them wrong. Mommy say them can't understand them wrong. Say want make every little thing I make them can't me go to station. Every little thing I make them can't me go to station. But away them a go run, away them a go run, away them a go run when the right time come. Me say away them a go run, away them a go run, away them a go run when the emperor come. Me say them run to the rock for a hiding place, run to the hill for a hiding place. And no place to run and hide. Me say and no place to run and hide. Me say that run and tumble down with them gun. Go run and tumble down with them gun. Me say the soldier man a come with him big long gun. Policeman a come with him handful of guns. Me born and me raised in the slum. A man a say me born and raised in the slum. A man me say me never carry gun nor bomb. A man me say me never carry gun nor bomb. A man a say away them a go run and when the right time come. Away them a go run when the right time come. Me say the soldier man a come, the policeman a come. And every little thing me say them can't understand. Me say them can't me go to station, say that me wrong. Can't me go to station, say that me wrong. Every little thing me say them can't understand. Then lock me up a jail and say that me wrong. Me say that I go run away the right time.
Yeah, man, that's Prince Jasbo with Slum Chant. It's a heavy tune. I had never
Oh.
heard that before. I just randomly found it at Deadly Dragon Sound from New York
Wow.
online. And this is my copy here. It's on a Sparkles 7-inch. I never heard of Sparkles.
Never.
It doesn't have the year on it. It says produced by Prince Spar, which I don't know. I don't know who that is. But just heavy. And you can hear all those things I'm talking about. The dubby mixing, the organ and guitar just doing some really nice licks throughout. It sounds like scientists mixing that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it really does to me.
Yeah, when I hear the hi-hat move, this whole introducing a new hi-hat, I call it, by adjusting the phase
phasing
on it. Exactly.
That song, that phasing, that effect, especially from that era, like does something good to my endorphins. That's like, so people like hearing certain sounds. People are like into like certain like, I don't know.
Right.
That thing that does it for me. I'm like, oh yeah, more of that phaser.
Gives you some dopamine. Get my boy Devin some dopamine.
Give it to me. And that's what maybe my favorite Jasbo like toast. Like I just love his phrasing on that. Everything about it, it's so good. And yeah, it's like it's early '80s, I guess. I wish I knew. I mean, it's got to be. It sounds like Radix. I don't know. It's not on any. I've got like a bunch of Prince Jasbo LPs. It's not on any of them. So it's just one of those.
It's
random
heavy.
ones,
I
man.
mean, it's one of those tunes that's a really good example of whoever's dub engineering, like they become another musician in the room.
Exactly.
It's a good example of that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
When things come in and out, it's not just sporadic and random. Like it serves a purpose. It adds to the composition. That's a great tune.
And you can see that like you can imagine that they really have like the dance hall in mind. When they're mixing it, like
Right.
bringing in everything, like that kind of thing. You could just see it playing really well in a live setting, like over a sound system situation.
Totally.
So that's my tune. Love that tune, Prince Jasbo. Our record of the week segment is brought to you by the Reggae PodClash merchandise store. You can check out the Reggae PodClash merchandise store by visiting rootfire.net and clicking on the store tab. I really recommend doing so because not only do the proceeds go to help with the upkeep of the show, but I'm a kind of person that's always looking for some new reggae gear. I go on like Soul Jazz, I'll go on, whatever, Pressure Sounds, different record companies just to try to get some reggae gear. I like reggae shirts. And so this is your chance to add to it. It's a nice design designed by Mr. Roger Rivas. The mug is a beautiful mug. That's my go-to mug. That mug is a mug. And
Look at that
it's my go-to. Hats and beanies, all kinds of nice stuff. So make sure you go check that out.
Ripped the design off the artwork from the great Sassafras, who's like a famous artist in Jamaica. He would design all those posters that you associate that look with.
Oh, for the mug?
Yeah, for the mug.
This look?
Oh,
This-
yeah.
This mug here, let's see.
Uh-oh. That's
nice.
a dope looking mug. But
really is.
it's just because I jocked it and stole it from Sassafras. So that's why. That's all I'd be doing. Oh, let's see. What do we got in our backstage? Who do we got in our backstage right now?
Well, it looks like Tony might be having some issues, but we got some. Santa is in, so I say
Santa's in.
we just bring in Mr. Santa Davis, and then when
Yes.
Tony, I'm sure Tony will figure out his phone situation.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to bring in one of the heaviest drummers to come out of Jamaica, if not the heaviest drummer. When you listen to reggae music, you don't realize how many songs this gentleman is on, how many hit songs this gentleman is on. Like me just thinking, oh shoot, that sounds like Santa Davis. So we're gonna bring him on right now. Santa, are you in there?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and
How you
Mr.
doing?
Tony's here too. Let's bring him in.
Let's bring Tony in.
Oh, yes, I'm Rastafari. Respect.
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Perfect
Divine
timing.
and Robert.
First
Yeah,
of
man.
all, thank you for being on the show, but also thank you for just existing and having contributed to the story of Jamaican music,
Yeah,
because it would be totally different if you two gentlemen were not a part of it. So thank
All
you
right.
so much for your years of
Yeah, one more thing. I like to apologize for full with ease recording this studio every day with this African dude and thing, and he's in the studio every day, and I apologize for him not to, because I was supposed to be here on this podcast, but he couldn't make it
no
and
problem.
things. So I apologize for him. But Santana is here.
Oh,
That's Santa and you were here. That's perfect. And you know what? That
Yes.
just gives us an excuse to do a whole next Soul Syndicate episode with Fully. So it's all good.
Yeah,
It's gonna
man.
work out.
Yeah, man. I got to admit, I'm still nervous, you gentlemen being here, but I was fortunate enough to do a couple sessions with you two gentlemen via the great Tom Chastain here in Los Angeles, and it was just like walking next to a superhero, and when Santa went up to the drums, it was so effortless, It could be the same drum set another drummer gets on, and it's gonna sound different. It's Santa's just touch. It
And
was
Robert,
crazy.
you're an awful bubble up on that organ, man. Wicked.
Thank you.
I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
that session a lot.
It was a fun one for sure. I was
Yeah,
very
man.
intimidated. You guys are true geniuses. I want to start from the beginning because I really, really, me and Devin enjoy all eras of Jamaican music. So we really love hearing, whose heroes were your guys' when you guys were young. I mean, am I doing the math correctly? When you guys were about teenagers, was like the Rocksteady era
Yes,
happening?
in the Rocksteady areas, yeah.
So,
I do-
Tony, we'll start with you, and then I want to hear Santa's. But Tony, who were some of your heroes growing up?
All right.
that
In the
were playing?
Rocksteady era, Rocksteady was part of my favorite inspiration music. Like, I love groups, singing groups, like the Melodians, the Paragons, Eptones, the Gay Lads. Those were my inspiration to sing because before I started to play guitar and thing, when I just learned, I was into singing more. And I have my friend that taught me how to play guitar, Morris Gregg, who taught me. He was a great singer and things. So those were my inspiration in the Rocksteady. In the musical form, Lynn Tate, the guitarist, and Ernest Ranglin was my two biggest inspiration in the guitar, and then Ox Brown and the
Yes.
thing. That was before we started to record the music and thing. But those were my biggest inspiration in the musical part.
That's nice. Santa, when you started, was there any musician, Santa, that made you gravitate towards the drums? Who were some of your heroes growing up?
It's funny. My first inspiration, I should say, was the military.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The military band, because as a kid growing up, when we used to have Independence Day parade and stuff like that, and they used to have these road marches and stuff. It was the military, so that was my first thing. Oh, I want to be in the military. I want to play drums or whatever. But that led me to drum corps. So my first, but in addition to that, in the secular world was the Scatterlights, because that's what you used to hear as a kid growing up, a lot of scat. When I was growing up with that was a scat era.
Mm-hmm.
So the Scatterlights, but my first influence was actually the military band, but I didn't get to go into the military, so there you have it.
Wow. So Lloyd Knibb must have been just a hero of yours.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I used to hear about him, but I didn't know him. And I mean, I was a kid then; I didn't know all these musicians.
Right.
You just hear the music, and then when I start growing up, But actually, one of my first teacher from that era was a guitar player by the name of Bobby Akins.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And Bobby Akins, because I'll tell you this story, right? So I was a member of the St. Peter Claver Drum Corps. And I used to be what they call the quartermaster. I used to take care of all the equipment and make sure what goes out comes in. So I would run a checklist on those things. So Bobby Akins, he used to come to the church and give guitar lessons.
Wow.
So this one day I was in the band room, and I did a little makeshift setup of a drum kit. The big military bass, marching bass drum.
Right.
And there was a little rinky-dink pedal. I put the pedal on because I'm trying to mimic what I saw, on the, out in the streets, in clubs and stuff. Well, I never used to go to clubs, but I was trying to mimic a drum kit.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this big bass drum. So I found this little pedal, put the pedal on. But I didn't have a hi-hat. I didn't know what a hi-hat was back then, because I was just playing marching drum stuff. Anyway, so I eventually set up a little thing, and I was in there playing. So Bobby Aiken was in another section of the building, and he heard this racket going on. So he came over, and he's the guy that opened me up to where I'm at today. He came into me and he said, okay, Rocksteady music, make sure the snare drum drops with the kick drum, and you might play an 8 note or a 16. Well, I didn't have a hi-hat, but he was just telling me, this is what you have to do. And that was it. He was the first musician from that era. Because he used to have he was very prominent in the music scene at that time. He had a band called Bobby Akins and the Carib Beats.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to do a lot of recordings back then, just like the studio one. He was one of the premier set of guys, and he was a great guitar player. So I have to give credit to Bobby Aiken because he's the one that pointed me in the direction of where I end up today. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, hey,
awesome guitarist, man.
That's part of the history,
What year was that when Bobby was teaching you that stuff?
I think that was because I left drum corps in '69, so I think it might have been around 67, 66, 67, somewhere around there.
All right, so Rocksteady was like in full.
Oh yeah,
full
right.
swing at that time.
Because what happened, the ska I now made the transition where the beat got slower.
Yeah.
And that was the Rocksteady era, and So
hey, Santa, what's the name of the drummer that was playing the ska and him couldn't keep up, and him started to play the Rocksteady?
That was Joe Isaacs.
Joe Isaacs. He played under those Rocksteady songs, man.
Yeah.
Studio One, right?
Yes. So what happened with Joe? What happened with Joe? Cause he said it himself. I mean, I to be honest with you, I know there was a process. I know something happened to slow the music down from where it was.
Right.
But it's only when I heard him say it. But then I was speaking to somebody else, and they say, well, yeah, he said that, but this is what happened.
No, I saw an interview with him, and he said that.
Yeah, but I'm saying I spoke to somebody the other day. I'm not going to call a name, but I was talking to another person who, is hip to the times back then. And he was saying, well, he's saying that, but anyway, what Joe Isaacs is saying, that during the time when ska was going on, Lightnings was a beast. You know what I mean? He was the man. You know what I mean?
Only, man.
So the thing is this, to play fast like that and keep that consistent is not easy.
You got to keep up, yeah.
It's not easy. I mean, a lot of people try to do it, and if you're not physically ready, I mean, it's not about strength or whatever. It's about what technique and stuff like that. So if you as a drummer or whatever, try to come in and be Mr. Brute Force, you're gonna have a problem. You know what I mean? It's all about finesse and technique. Anyway, so Joe Isaacs, I think he said he went to the studio and they wanted him to play ska. So he said it. He said, "Man, I was totally not there with that because I couldn't keep
slowing down." Yeah.
He said each time he started playing, he started slowing down, slowing down. So he said that's what he said was, I think Clement Dodd Coxon was like, all right, Rocksteady, whatever.
Yep.
And that's what they said the name Rocksteady came from. I don't know, but somebody else. I was talking to somebody else the other day, and I mentioned it, and he was like, "Nah," because you see, what happened with Jamaican music? At certain times, certain things happen. Oh no! All right, Siri, shut up.
She does good.
She does. You just have to say this keyword, and she just picks up. Anyway, sorry about that. But
she's like Joe Isaacs.
Yeah. But back then, a lot of things happen in the music that people would think, oh, they planned this. But a lot of things in reggae happen just by chance, just by accident.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? So the thing is this, Joe was in a position where, he said that's what happened. And then he ended up playing a lot of hit songs in Rocksteady. Joe Isaacs, you have to credit him for a lot of those Studio One
I've got
Rocksteady
to go back home
You see what I'm saying?
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I said yeah
But
with Toots and the Maytals. Many Rocksteady songs that if me that I grew up with that did know that he's one that playing on those songs.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. Really good. Delaware with dancing mood, Ken Boot, man, so
True.
many Rocksteady songs that guy play on.
Steady.
And the fun thing is, and he didn't get that really credit. You know, that sometimes a musician is playing and songs like us syndicate, they call us different names, aggravators, GG All Star, Randy's All Stars. I think we never get the real kind of credit. Well, he's the same thing. He didn't get a lot of credit and his music that he played. 'Cause
That's
I didn't know.
That's
Right.
true because as a just as fans of Jamaican music and people who study it, the name when it comes to drummers specifically, you hear Carlton Barrett,
Yes.
you hear Santa Davis, you hear Sly Dunbar, you hear Horsemouth, and you don't hear Joe Isaacs too much in those same breaths. And as Santa was just talking about it,
And also there's another cat who did a lot of Studio One hits. His name is Phil Calenda.
Wow.
You see, I never
Phil,
heard of him.
Phil Calenda. He was one of them. I think he was the guy who played Sata Masagana. And I mean,
And
nobody.
the drums.
He was a drummer, but he stopped playing drum because I used to. He opened a rehearsal studio at his house on
Wow.
Malines Road. You know Malines Road, Tony, right?
Yeah, man.
And when I used to gig with Ainika Mosey, we used to go at his house to rehearse.
Oh,
And the story that I got from him was that he stopped because he started playing bass after a while because he said the drums was getting like hurting his head or whatever. So he was having headaches by playing. But you see, let me tell you something. You see, this music business, it's one of the most rootless, rottenest business you can ever think of. This business is just filled with a lot of rottenness. And I'm just saying this. If it wasn't for music, if it wasn't for the love of music, I wouldn't be doing it. I love music. I hate the business. I hate a lot of things. Because the thing is this, so many people hear about me and they hear about Sly, they hear about Arsman. But there was a bunch of other guys. You have right now a great drummer in Jamaica right now by the name of Mikey Boo Richards.
yeah.
Right? He played a lot of hit songs.
A lot of people
And now,
know.
this brother is in Jamaica right now. He's not doing well. He's ill. He think he has some medical issues. And Mikey Boo, yeah, man.
He's on this Prince Jasbo I was just talking about. This
And-
Mikey Boo, yeah.
You hear a lot about. He played a lot of Bob Marley stuff. He played Ride Natty Ride and what's the next song? They don't wanna see us.
Top ranking.
Top ranking. You know what I mean? This guy. So the thing is this. A lot of things wasn't really documented in Jamaica, like in America here, where I can pick up history of some of the people that I used to look up to when I was 12 years old. Because I used to have journalists and guys who used to make note of these things so that later on they can expose it to people like us and stuff like that. But the business, the music business, man, is one of the most rottenest business because the thing is you don't get credit a lot of times what you did. Like us Soul Syndicate, we did so many things. People don't even know that we did it.
Yeah.
But for me, like fully take it a little harder because he's a very emotional guy. People might say, "Oh, Fully just miserable." No, he's not. He's hurt because, man, Fully. I can talk about Fully.
So many
about
bad
Fully.
things goes on in this business, but
That brother, hold on, Tony. That brother put in so much work, and I can agree with the way he feels. Why sometimes he don't even want to do interviews. Because what is he gonna say? How is he gonna say it?
Right.
Because so a lot of us. I mean, shoot, I'm hurt because I did so much. Tony Chin did so much. We create history in Jamaica. 'Cause you know what? a lot of people, you have a great bass player by the name of Light Parks. Light Parks, he used to say, man, he was just always listening for what Fully was going to come with next. Because Fully was crazy. He would come up with some lines that
back in the days.
you wouldn't think, wait a minute, how did he think of that? You know what I mean? And that's the kind of person he was. That's the kind of contribution he made. We all made the contribution. But remember, Santa Davis wouldn't be Santa Davis without Fully. Vice versa. Us working together as a team. Okay, you know why? We had something we used to do. Tony knows that too. We have something we used to do like every day in Jamaica. We used to get up every day, come to Fully's yard. Remember, Tony?
Practice, right?
And we just set the instrument. There was a big ass
room.
Yeah, but there was remember that lime tree at 9th Street.
Don't get that from 9th Street. Man.
We used to set up. There was
yard.
There was a big ass lime tree, and it was like a canopy, like a nice little canopy. You know, no matter how hot the day is, you go under that tree because it was so big. And we used to set up under that tree, and we would rehearse like we were getting $1 million. But guess what? We were just rehearsing. Right. So whenever a gig comes up or a studio come up, because a lot of times they used to just take us as one package to the studio or whatever, right. just like we're gonna do a stage show, you know. But we dedicated our time, no money. Sometimes none of us had $1 in our pocket, but we had the music in our brain and in our heart. So we just get up every day and just practice, and then for the rest of the day we go about our business. Or Tony might have a session to go do, I might have a session to go do. And that's the way we did it. So we dedicated a lot of time in this thing, but man, justice, I'm still waiting.
Santa,
I'm still waiting to see some justice.
Remember, Santa, mechanic story. You know that before Family Man them back up Bob Marley and the Wheelers them, we were the one doing it. If you want the original Wheelers, you can call us original Wheelers. I remember we were doing a show back now, Bob, Bunny and Peter. Don't Greenwich Farm at a club called Psychedelic Shack.
Yeah.
I don't remember Santa. But Fully bass catch a fire on stage. And everybody have run off of the stage.
Wow.
It was this club down Greenwich Farm is where we all grew up. That's where we grew up from. And a lot of Bunny Lee, they call him Striker Lee, that's all more lot of the artists them came from. Ken Booth, Slim Smith, all of them. Dirk Morgan and things. So that's history. I used to live on, I grew up in Greenwich Farm, and then I moved to Trenchtown and grew up in Trenchtown. Then I moved to Spanish-Town Road. When I moved to Spanish-Town, that's when Soul Syndicate formed, about 68, 69. That's when we started the band and thing.
And is that when you two and the rest of you guys linked up, or did you guys know each other before then?
Well, Santa came in later, and China came in later in the band because when the band formed, it did not name Soul Syndicate, it named Riddim Raiders. You know, we have a lead singer named Cleon Douglas that used to sing the lead with us. China wasn't in the band as yet. We have a guy named Meggy on guitar and drum. When Fully just started play bass, when the band just started, he used to play bass on a guitar, not a bass guitar. You see, his father bought some equipment, and that's how the band started, Riddim Raiders. And then a few years after, his brother, Lucky, named the band Syndicate. Asmouth used to play with us too, and then Asmouth left, and then that's when Santa came in the group and thing. And then from that, it's Syndicate record, top recording band in Jamaica after that.
You know, was that a little bit unique in Jamaican music in terms of you guys coming together to form a band? Because, you know, a lot of times you hear of, you know, an artist wanted to, you know, had a song or something, and so went to a studio and got linked with whoever the house band might be. But then you have like these like exceptions sometimes, like the Gladiators, for example, are an exception where they were a band, self-contained, and, you know, had their vocalists. And so with you guys, like, you know, when you started wanting to play music and you said, oh, we want to form a band and be a self-contained unit called Rhythm Raiders, and then later Soul Syndicate, was that unique? Were there a lot of other people doing that at that time?
Well, look, you have a little that other band in Jamaica. We have some band we call the Uptowns band them. like Third World, Fabulous Five. I think they were more of a live show band that play on stage. We were good at that too, but we were in the recording music. You see, Ox Brown them was before us. We always admire all the song them Ox Brown them with Jack Jackson
Right.
playing, because they're Toots and the Maytals band that play all those songs. Ox Brown play a lot of hit songs too. So when we go in the studio and we start to record a song, Bunny Lee is one of the first man that brought us in the recording studio. And recording. Then other promoter came in and saw us and wanted to play on their song too. I remember we were doing a session, I don't remember, I think it Dynamics, or if the name West Indies that time, but we were recording for Bonnie Lee, and this brand named Phil Pratt came in and saw us and said, "Why, Syndicate, can you come to the studio next week, such and such a day?" And we went to the studio for Phil Pratt. And we did a song with him with John Holt called My Heart Is Gone.
Yeah.
That was a big hit for John Holt. First we played with John Holt. And then we did the first time we meeting Dennis Brown, we did a song with him called What About the Half? What about the half that never been told? That was for Phil Pratt. And again, next story again. We were Randy's studio band. Do a lot of songs for Randy's. Now Santa know that there's a song that they did for Randy's named Java. I did not play on Java, but Santa know the story of Java. So Santa can relate to that. And that's Augustus Pablo first song.
Yeah.
First hit song. But Santa can tell you the story a little of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to tell the story.
Please,
Yeah,
please
man.
do.
By
Tell a
the way,
little of it.
by the way, we just had
Yeah,
Miss-
these are
Miss-
instrument. Java, man.
we just had Miss Pat on the show
Wow.
about 2 shows ago, and that was amazing. So for everybody out there,
Yeah.
check out the Miss Pat show.
Yeah, well,
but yes, Santa,
sorry, go
Santa,
ahead.
tell us. No, please tell us, Santa.
Yeah, I mean, well, basically, I say we were kind of like, you know, the studio band for, we were called the Impact All Star. Just like earlier, Tony
Yes.
said, whoever you work for, I mean, these people used to have their names,
Name it.
you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So you have the Randy's All Star, Impact All Star, whatever. Anyway, so we did a lot of work with Randy's back then. And their little son, Clive Chin, he was still going to school, you know. So he wanted to get into the business because he was in a family-run thing. So he wanted to do some songs, you know. And he kind of came under our wing because, we were there all the time, and, you know, we kind of groomed him then because back then he was still in his school uniform. So he wanted to record some stuff. So his first song he's going to record was the song that came to be known as Java.
Java.
Yeah? Yes, or something, Tony?
No. I said, I just saying what you said. The name Java, the first song.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Right, so the song came to be known as Java. Anyway, so how that song came about? Just like I said, a lot of things happen in the studio sometimes that in Jamaica, it's always a lot of unpredictability that goes on in the music business. So he brought an artist in, one of his friends from school. All of his friends, they're in school, they can sing. Oh, yeah, let me come sing a song. He brought him to the studio, a brother named Dennis Wright. He came inside the studio. It was me, Foley, China, and I forgot who was on keyboards. And he sang the songs. It was just like a 2-card thing, you know. So he was in the corner, just kind of doing a rough vocal. So I just decided, okay, let's kind of start. Let's give this rhythm a because we always be coming up with ideas. So I said, I kind of remember like the Far East kind of thing where you have this big gong where you, and you see the Shaolin guys coming. I kind of thought of that, you know what I mean? So I said, okay, I'm going to start this song like this. So I made just one hit on the cymbal. And China came in. And then I did that fill, came in the song. Boom. So, okay, long story short, recorded the track. Okay, this guy, we just recorded the track for him. He was singing all along when the track was playing. So after it was finished, so okay, let's hear what you can do with the track, bro. He couldn't, for some weird reason, he couldn't come into the song. So they started again. I said, okay, ready. Remember, he was the one who was singing when we were recording the track. But for some weird magical reason, the track supersedes what he was doing. Some crazy kind of way.
Wow.
There was a magic that happened, and he couldn't sing on the track. So Clive started to get worried, because a young kid.
Yeah.
But then Clive was still in his school uniform and all that. So I was like, I went over to him and I said, Clive, you can't handle this, man. This is an instrumental. I just said it to him. I mean, I didn't say it. I don't know how it came up, but I just said it. I said, Clive, you can't handle this rhythm, It's an instrument. This is an instrumental. I didn't even say it sound like an instrumental. No. It just came out of me. I said, this is an instrumental. Him can't handle this rhythm.
That's where it started from.
And then that's how he went and got his other friend from school, Augustus Pablo.
Wow.
And Augustus Pablo, that was Augustus Pablo's first hit song, really.
Yeah.
And then they named it Java because of the whole Asian team, with the gong and
like Chinese
China with that whole thing. You know what I mean? So that was part of the history of that whole thing. You know what I mean? I hear other stories, and this is the thing. You would hear other people say, "Oh, well, I was the one who did this," and that's kind of weird because people do that all the time.
Yeah.
But you know what? I try not to be in a kind of musical confrontation with people, because if I know what I did and somebody come and say, "Oh, they were the one who came up with that," whatever, then I just say, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna fight with you. I know, God know, and somebody else know. But that's it. But that's how that rhythm came about. It came about because the singer couldn't sing.
Couldn't manage it.
He couldn't manage it, and there you have it.
So
Java.
that's you on drums, Chinna on lead guitar. Is it fully on bass?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying. Hear that bass line, poo.
You fully to make some crystal line.
And that's the thing I keep up to talk about fully. Now, that's my big brother, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I might be taller than him, but he's my big brother. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. Fully Fullwood is the only bass player, and I'm gonna say, except for Family Man, who I worked with, briefly, but in the studios. But Fully Fullwood, out of every bass player I have ever played with in my life, Fully Fullwood, he's like what do you call that thing that stick on if you go in the water, you call it a slug? A leech. A leech.
Yeah, they trying to feed off each other.
He's like a damn leech. And when I say that,
I'm gonna hear you out.
When I say that,
we gotta have him on the show.
I'm not saying it in a negative way.
Of course.
This guy, wherever he starts, he don't move. He's like a human metronome. I could just sit like this and play when Fully's playing the bass. He's the only bass player in the world that I find that I can do that with. Wow. Because the thing is this, Fully have this discipline internally and this clock internally that when he starts to play, he's not up and down, here, there, tempo drop, tempo up, pushing, dragging. He just, like I say, like a leech. He just stays there.
Stick with you. Yeah, man.
You see what I'm saying? So that's my bro, man. I'm going
to tell you something.
Out of all the bass players I've played with, I've never played with another bass player.
I don't know.
That.
Nice.
Syndicate have a kind of magic together when we're all together in the studio playing as Syndicate. In the studio.
Family. It's a family. It's a family.
Listen, again, next story. Channel 1, the brother them, Jojo, them and thing. Before them off Channel 1, I used to live on that street, Spanish Town Road, and Maxwell Avenue. Right at the corner, and Maxwell Avenue, Jojo, them have an ice cream parlor and a bike shop with them fixed bike. That was before Channel 1. Now, when Channel 1 when they build the studio, it's brand new, this is a new studio open up, they call Syndicate to come in and test the studio. So we go in and test it out, to make sure everything working and thing.
They still had the scent of glue, because there was some paint that scent of paint and
Yes,
glue,
scent
like
of the-
that.
No.
We almost died in that.
Yeah.
It was,
No, the
it was
first
so toxic, like glue and
was smelling, yeah, man.
paint.
The first hit
But we were
song
the first to get in there.
Wow.
that come out that channel one that we played the backtrack for, and that hit song was a song with Gregory Isaac, a producer named Phil Pratt, a tune named All I Have Is Love.
Yeah,
Boom, boom, boom,
famous.
boom, boom.
No, Tony,
Hey.
no. Maybe I think you might be jumping ahead a little bit. The first hit song we gave to those people was a cover, a Studio One cover. The name of the song was In Cold Blood, but they call it Jump the Fence.
That have a challenge one.
Yes, that was the first hit song we gave them. Doom titi doom doom doom.
Oh, the one, yeah, but that instrumental, that instrumental.
Yeah, and they call it Jump the Fence. That was the first hit song.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then after that, because
Right.
remember, if you remember clearly, we were the first people. We were the testers.
Right.
We went in the studio to see, how the acoustic was, and they had a bunch of stuff that they put on the wall, a bunch of like carpety kind of stuff. And what happened at the time, they were trying to make the studio pretty and stuff, but they had to tear those stuff off the wall because
The song
the song was too
bouncing off.
not even bouncy. It was just kind of like dead, like a thud.
He did, yeah.
There was no deflection. There was no kind of like, acoustic bouncing around. It was like, boo, ooh, it was woody. So they had to tear those things off the wall. You know what I mean? And back then, as I said, we went in to see if the studio worked. And yeah, it worked, but they had to do some adjustment, which was good. They tear it out and leave the glue on the wall, the bare wall. And then they start giving free time. Jojo was giving free time to Henry. I got free time. I still didn't use it all up to this day.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
I didn't use my free time.
Yeah, I do a lot of songs there too.
Yeah,
And,
but yeah, man.
we record the album there with Mighty Diamonds called Deeper Roots.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a
That album
nice
was
one.
that
Yeah.
was joke. That was challenge one album. And the funny thing is,
Yeah.
they don't have a lot of pressing on that album. You can't get it so easy again. Deeper Roots, one of Diamond best album. That tune on the name. Who gonna bodyguard, Mr. Bodyguard?
There it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
man. There you
oh,
go.
you have it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
my God.
Yeah,
man. Challenge one album that they never press a lot of it.
Yeah.
But man, so that's a whole story, man. The challenge.
To be honest, I can just back up Tony with that.
Yeah.
To be honest, man, I think in the industry we have been highly underrated.
Oh my God, it's true.
To be honest with you, because the thing is this, we have done so. I mean, when you talk about original, or we created a lot of original rhythms, not like do some stuff over, and going back to Fully again, the mastermind behind the bass line. You know what I mean? I have to give the credit to him because I'm just there banging away on the drum.
Right.
We talk about the progression, the bass progression. We talk about a song like S90 Scam. S90 Scam with that big youth. Did Know You Ride Like Lightning, You Clash Like Thunder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's fully full. You know what I mean? And that song was done for a brother named
Keith Hudson.
He did a vocal stuff on it, and then Big Youth come and make it famous. S90 Scam. Right? We talk about I'm talking about Talk About Love by Pat Kelly.
Yep.
Ooh, that's such a good one, man.
I mean, come on,
Santa don't put you.
Yeah.
That's the first song I sing vocal and I mean a maximum back at the arm.
We all sing at that song. By the way, but that was the thing,
Yeah.
And I'm just we are here talking, but I have to back up my brother because he's not here.
Of course.
Because the thing is, Soul Syndicate wouldn't be Soul Syndicate without Fully Fullwood.
It's true. Yeah.
Fully Fullwood.
Oh, you have that.
Pat Kelly.
Phil
Oh,
Pratt.
Not a
God.
record.
Phil
that
Pratt.
Yeah, man.
doesn't-
Sunshine.
Fully Fullwood father, Mr. B, God bless his soul. That man, he took his personal money, and he buy equipment. And what he couldn't buy, he would make.
He would make
Wow.
them true.
He
Mic
used to,
stand and thing.
like mic stands and cymbal stands. He would make those stuff. You know what I mean? Drum thrones or whatever. You know.
Mm.
And you know, the thing is this, man. You know, fully did so much for bass players in Jamaica. You know what I mean? A lot of these hit songs, and he hasn't been credited for it. And this is why a lot of people say, why is Fully so? I said, look, the man is hurt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there is so much things that we did. And I don't want to come on this program and be bawling like, oh, woe is me, because
No.
it's not just unique to us. You know what I mean? But I can just say what we did. You know, like some of the original stuff. Like even the famous rhythm here from Sly and Robbie, the taxi rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
We are the original.
It's the taxi rhythm for them. But
Mm-hmm.
we created the original version of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And all those
Was
type
that
of
for
things.
Little
So-
Roy? Was that the Little Roy tune?
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
But
Boom.
actually,
Boom,
but
boom, boom.
actually, it was actually an instrumental before that.
Okay.
Before we did it, yeah.
I think they call it Peanut Vendor, where
Yeah.
somebody was
Yeah,
playing.
that's
Yeah, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it
Right.
started. I did it
Right.
from a producer named Black Marwell.
Black and Marwell, you know?
Wow.
Santa, me remind you, when we
Yeah.
do that tune there,
Wow.
Black Marwell carry a trench tone because he
Yeah,
never
man, yeah,
have
man.
the
We
mud
remember
period.
all that, yeah.
And the man that give you a bike, if we want a whole World War II bike, if we can take the bike for the pay, we say, no, we want money. I'm saying, all right. He might go to him auntie and get the money. And we have the older wait at the gate. We don't see him come back all now. The man
but-
jump fence.
But you know what, man? You know what? I think that was part of us, part of the growth,
Yeah,
and,
man.
and part of the insight on what is to come and the business. You know, because who, you know, the thing is this. You know what? We were like the fixers for a lot of people in Jamaica, in Jamaica's music industry. Because everybody who don't have any money always find us.
Come to us.
Oh,
Hold up.
that sounds like Roger.
What I told that.
I'm looking for you.
Everybody who don't have money, they find Soul Syndicate. And you know why? We were young, dumb, and kind, you know?
All right.
and just wanted to play music. So a lot of people, we a lot of these songs you would hear and think, oh shoot, we made bank off of those. No, these were songs that some guy, they would come to our rehearsal spot, and that's where we always be. And man, I got some studio time, and I want to have these two songs, but I don't have any money right now, but I will pay you next week.
All right.
You know?
I'm getting story.
And then-
I'm getting story about that.
And then let me finish, my brother. And then, you know, we would do these songs. We go to the studio, and it would happen several times. But it was part of us paying our dues and actually making ourselves known, you know. But that's what's part of it. I mean, we didn't know the business. We didn't know the music business. We were just musicians. You see what I'm saying? Just happy to play music, not knowing that, oh, wait a minute, this is not just only going to studio and playing some stuff. This is bigger than that. But if we knew the things that I know now, if we knew it back then,
Yeah.
we would be rich.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, we didn't know that we were composers. It's only when I came to America and start reading up some stuff on the music business, I realized, wait a minute. So these guys who used to call themselves producers, they only produce studio. It's studio time.
Right.
And what they would do, they unload the artist on us. And whether it be Tony,
Yeah, we have things.
finding the chords, and say, okay, all right. And we would be the ones coaching.
Making the
Yeah,
music.
you were responsible for the creative content.
Yeah, the creative process of the whole thing.
Yeah.
We were there, doing the arrangements, coaching the singer. Cause a lot of these singers, you know, back then a lot of these guys, they come from the country and they didn't understand about timing and when to come in and stuff like that. And we would have to inform them that, hey, wait, we're going to do 4 bars and then you come in. Or we're going to do 12 bars and then you come in. And then, okay, we're going to do 16 bars and then you go to the bridge and then go to this, whatever. We have to teach them these things. And the workload was on us, the musicians. Only to find out when the music is all said and done, it's all created and done, finished, release, mix, master release. Then all the credit we get, Tony Chin on guitar, Santa Davis on drums. And this guy who was sitting on his car outside the studio with his friends, yakking off, getting the credit for producer, arranger, writer, and all this. I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture?
It's so true. And us as record collectors, how many times me and Devin constantly do it? We're just, this is produced by this producer. And you kind of have that feeling after a while that it's the producer.
That's the only info we have and we're given on the,
right. But you can't help it. Yeah.
But Santa, it's so funny because I've had this conversation probably with Devin as well, is that a song like Simmer Down would not be Simmer Down if it wasn't for the Skylights. You know what I mean?
Right. True.
As much as exactly the musicians, a lot of these songs that we deem as classics, a song like Willow Tree, Out in Alice, I love that song. But the musicianship, if it wasn't for the players that are playing
Jackie
that
Mittoo
at the moment, Jackie Mittoo,
Okay, I can understand because back in the day, like a lot of the horn players, a lot of musicians in Jamaica, they used to do a lot of reading, right? But mainly horn players. So I can understand if some guy had come into the studio and gave us all charts and said, okay, play this. And you look at the chart and you say, okay. They
can read music.
Whatever, okay? Fine. Okay. We would say, okay, we have to give credit to this guy because it's his piece. And then I'm just playing on the paper what he gave us to play.
Right. He wrote the charts.
He wrote the chart. But it wasn't anything like that. Right. You see what I'm saying? They just come, give us it was like a conveyor belt of singers. Sending them in, sending them out, sending them in. And then we are there working with these guys for hours. And then all of a sudden you see on the record, and everyone, none of these producers, none of them, they would come and have little hints like, Jommy, give me some more, give me a little more, something, Gitsy, they call it drummy, Gitsy, bassy, whatever, organ D, they would give the musician's name, give me some more. Ting, give us something, and they said, "Okay, give me some more ting." Well, okay, all right, cool.
Santa is the king of ting.
Santa, let me get a story on that. Remember 90, the Observer. Yeah. The first song 90 did was a tune named Blood and Fire.
Yeah.
He came to us, Syndicate. Santa was there and fully and said, "Tony, full Santa, boy, I have this tune here, for do it's a hit song, but me not the money can't." Record it from me.
Same story.
You see, some say, boy, blood seed 90, but we have a soft part. I'm sorry, because him say, him not the money no, but him pay away after the tune come out and it. We say, all right. So I will go around the studio for record the tune, and with the man, I play the guitar, the regular scam, chop, and then he said, Tony, I don't want no regular scam like that. Give me something different. As we Santa was talking about, or we much and then read. Him say give it a hint. But him tell you what to play. Him don't know what else to play. I'm doing don't want the straight gang, him want something different. That's how I come up with that rhythm with the Blood and Fire. One of the best guitar rhythm I ever did, and no other song ever come like that again. And the song came out. And man, I have flyers for the song, and the song became a hit. About a month or two after, I think he came on that taxi at Greenwich Farm, and the man pay us the money, I couldn't believe it. And didn't expect that we got paid for that song. And from that, Nanny never stopped use us. The Observers. All of Dennis Brown tune of and thing for Observers are we. With the panel, Breastbone Train, Cassandra, all them tune, No More Will I Roam. Yeah, man.
I have that record somewhere. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right now. But that's the guitar is like on the downbeat on that, right?
Yeah, man. I'm playing the next song for him named Blood Maccabee version. The same kind of idea. Could you bring back Maccabee version
Ooh.
that God gave to Max Romeo?
That's-
I
Yeah,
would
right.
let me used to call them reading the John Cross Gang.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
John Cross Gang.
Akoko.
Because they used to make they used to make motions like a
Yeah.
crow, you know, and stuff like that. Well, you
That's
know,
good to
next-
know. That's good
Yeah.
to know because as musicians, like you know, Roger and I who play in groups, and you guys know you played with Roger before. We you know that's a rhythm that's in our head that we know from Blood and Fire and Maccabee version and songs like that.
Yes,
But I never knew how to
don't you-
describe it. So now from now on, John
Yeah.
Skank, Roger. That's how we're
yeah,
talking.
because
about
Yeah, man.
that was kind of pop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a tune.
Uh,
There's a tune by the Versatiles, who it's you know Junior Bile. It's called "Warwick a Hill," and that's one of my favorite examples of that. It's just
Yeah, man. It's some different kind of. It's and that's old syndicate thing. We try to
Yeah.
come up with different kind of genre. There, but the guy like Santa in the move out of no child escape with judgment. Him come
yeah.
that that fight kind of thing. When Santa go play it, Santa can explain. Him never go say him gonna play a flyer cymbal. It's a feel him a try and thing.
Right.
And Bonley call it the flyers. That's
and-
so the thing start.
No, well, hear out now. Hear what that thing come about. Because you
Yes.
see, there's been a lot of conflicting reports and conflicting articles about this thing. Because you know, I did an interview with a big magazine one time. I don't want to call nobody name instead, but I did an interview, and when I spoke to the guy, I said, look, you know, this thing been around forever. You know, it's been played. It's been in jazz. It's been in all
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But anyway, I've been hearing this style of hi-hat cymbal playing all the while, you know what I mean? And then on this session, on that day, I just decided, man, I want to try this song, song, you know? And actually, it was me who came up with the idea to start the song like that. Because if you notice, you hear the fill, and then that little 4-bar thing, and then the guitar players, and they come with the right. But it was my idea. So instead of just a typical rakatak in the song, I said, let me start it with this thing for a couple of bars,
Right.
and then you guys just come in after that, right? And look, I didn't play at the time when I played it. It wasn't like I was trying to say, oh, this is some new stuff.
No.
I just heard it and I liked it. I said, let me play it in a song because I hear it in a bunch of songs. Let me see if it's going to work in this song. And I played it.
No, go ahead, please.
And I played it in the song and forgot about it. I wasn't even. I said, okay, because you know the thing is this: what we didn't try to do is try to think about the thing that we did yesterday, and then that get you to kind of monotonous, repetitious, whatever kind of thing. So we don't, you know, I forgot about that. I didn't remember I played that. And then all of a sudden, when Bunny Lee released the song, all of a sudden they start talking about this flying cymbal. But guess what? You have to understand, there was a time in Jamaica when the drums wasn't really a focus point. It wasn't focused on. You know what I mean? But you know who's responsible? You know who is responsible for that hi-hat being as prominent as it was, or you know, or being out on top of the song like that? King Tubby's. King Tubby's.
The dub
King
master.
Tubby's. He used to experiment with stuff, and he had this board, this console that he bought from Dynamic Sounds,
Right.
Dynamic Studios, right? And it had that. It had this frequency knob that
The phase
you know,
of-
like you. Yeah, like it's something that's a frequency knob. Like you'd say, okay, I want to set this thing at 3 dB or 10 dB, whatever.
The
But-
high pass filter, right?
Yeah, what I'm talking about, filter. The high pass filter.
Yeah.
Right. So Tubby's, he would have this habit of twisting it and turning it, you know, like on certain things, and that's how the whole dub generation started.
Yeah.
He started messing with that knob. And he was the one who did that. And all of a sudden, the hi-hat, you know, I guess he experimented on the hi-hat. You know, Bonnie Lee was there, whatever, because they were mixing. I wasn't there when they were mixing it. So I guess they did that, and this thing just jumped out. You know what I mean? And Bunny Lee, they call it the flying cymbal. You know why? I gotta tell you why.
Please.
So we used to do a lot of night sessions. So you gotta eat, you know. So our favorite food,
Chicken.
as you know, was the Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Chicken
So
wings.
so Bunny Lee at the time he used to send out and buckets of chicken would come back, you know, and that way you start busting up them chicken legs and stuff, you know. So that reminded the chicken. You remember, the chicken and the cymbal. Okay, flyers. Because we used to call the chicken flyers. Oh, flyers.
Ah,
you know?
wow.
So
The fly, the wing of fly, you know?
So the flying
I've
cymbal
never heard that.
was named because of the chicken.
Wow.
That we
Well,
used
they
to
named
eat.
that.
It's a
We
whole
used to
new
be in the
chicken.
street eating chicken.
Whole new
Yes.
So that's how this whole flying cymbal thing came about. It's not like I went into the studio and say, "Oh, people of the world, here is this new thing." No, it
And
wasn't
then-
anything like that because
But
I try not to be. Look here, I always if I'm in the studio and I do a drum fill, I try not to keep repeating that thing over and over, you know, because I used to look at the thing as like a journey, you know, and for me, I might start a song a certain way, and I might the next time I start it, I might add something else or take away something else. So when I did that what they call flying cymbal thing, it was me that was trying to do something. They did, and then after a while, bro, everybody wants a flying cymbal on their song. Even when I'm trying to tell them, look here, bro, this song doesn't fit that, man. It can't work. No, man, I just want some flying cymbal. I said, okay, whatever. You paying the money, and I tell you this, I'm gonna finish this.
no, please go on.
Yeah.
But I got tired of it after a while, right? I got tired of playing the thing, right? So if you listen to a lot of songs back then for Bunny Lee and stuff like that, whenever the song would get to maybe a solo section or maybe a bridge section, I would just break from the flying crap and started doing a 16 or
Right.
something. And then after the solo or the bridge or what, I would come back into the verse or whatever with the flyers. And that's how I started doing that, started messing with it, like, you know, try to get into people's head, like, I don't like this thing anymore, please.
Right.
But that technique, I know exactly what you're talking about. By the way, I know like those all those tunes where the flyers is on the chorus, and then maybe for the verse you go into the 16th.
I just break it up, yeah.
I mean, but that's beautiful. And a little side note, I was in a band for a long time called the Expanders, and we have a tune where we copied that exact thing. We did the flyers in the chorus, and then for the verse we would switch to the 16th, just to like break it up like that. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I have to say, you're being very humble about like, oh, you didn't invent, the concept of playing, the open hi-hat on the eighth notes and all that stuff. But when you did it, there's a groove to it and there's a pocket to it that nobody else has ever to my ears has ever matched with let's call it the flying cymbals thing, because you hear it like in disco. It's the first thing that comes to mind, right? It's like that.
Yeah,
but a lot of bands, when they try to do a flying cymbal in the context of reggae, especially nowadays, to my ears, it sounds like disco. It's just this really straight cookie cutter thing, And when Santa Davis does it, it's like there's this pocket to it, and it sounds unique, So you might not have come up with the concept, but that whole groove that's happening there, you're the only one I've ever heard who can make that sound like that, and then prompt the rest of the band to play what they're doing and make it fit, over that pocket. You know what I mean?
Well, I talk about the rest of the band, well, Santa is the one that give that feel. Cause I came up with that, the Flyers guitar stuff. I didn't invent it, as Santa said, Flyers, but that Skanks get the Flyers guitar that play upon the Move Out of Babylon.
Right.
The Cassandra and thing. So Santa, that cymbal give me that feel, and I come up with that guitar part there. So
right.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I would do the next song with that called Sardarina, where the young girl want. Yeah, but that's what the
Starlights,
idea.
right? Starlights.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna let you know this. For me, I always feel like if I'm doing something, it has to make sense. And with the flying cymbal, I try to make it as musical as possible. Because if you just play it and just say, okay, just like I tell people come to me and say, man, yeah, man, I want a 16. And I'm saying, look here, I have to hear what the other guys are playing, because the way how I play them songs, right? Robbie Shakespeare, because I did a lot of, before Robbie and Sly got together, it was me and Robbie Shakespeare. It was me and Fully, but then all of those Bunny Lee sessions, it was me and Robbie Shakespeare, right? And Robbie had a way of playing, and we had this thing too, you know what I mean? Where, you know, I should say Robbie is the second best bass player I played with. I'm not saying he's second best, because trust me, he's also
for your match. He's
the style. Yeah,
he's a beast also. But you know, we used to bounce off of, just like me and Fully. Me and Robbie used to have this thing, and he would do something, and then I'm like mimicking what he's doing. He's playing a line, and I'm mimicking the line, and that's the reason why, you know, you get these. And I realized that, you know what, if I'm doing this thing, I have to do like I'm playing a guitar or a piano or whatever. I have to kind of think that way, you know what I mean? To make whatever I'm playing make sense. Because I just say, a lot of drummers or a lot of musicians, whatever, they hear something and they just play it. But you have to do it with a meaning. Right. It's got to have a purpose in order for it to feel good. You know what I mean? And that's my thing, because I'm always trying things. You know, it might be different. I'll tell you a quick story. I'm doing a session, I'm doing something with Joe Higgs one time. A great teacher, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm there playing, and Joe Higgs look at me, because he was like a general, you know what I mean? And Joe Higgs look at me and say, you know what? You see you don't have any discipline enough. And I'm like, oh, what did I do? You know? You say you don't have any discipline enough.
Devin tells me that all the time.
Yeah, it's a problem, Santa.
He said, you don't have any discipline enough. And I kept quiet. I shut my mouth. I didn't say. I was trying to figure out where was this coming from. Him say you don't have any discipline enough. I said, what do you mean? Him say, you know what? That's what makes you so great. I was, oh.
Perfect. Like Joe.
Because him say you don't play the same thing twice. And I didn't realize that. He pointed it out to me. Because I wasn't really conscious of, because as a kid growing up, me and Tony and all of us, we used to just do things. Tony start do that riff. Fully start doing that thing. And all of a sudden, we're playing a certain song, but we break out into some rhythm from out of the moon somewhere.
Yeah, man.
And people be like, damn, wait, you guys practice that thing real hard? No, because we got so used to each other,
right,
that I would just hear Tony start doing something. And I say, uh-oh. And I start mimicking that on my hi-hat, or maybe I play this half beat on my kick. And then all of a sudden,
each other.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's why I'm saying it's very important, you know?
Yeah.
To have that cohesiveness, you know?
As I said before, when we are together in the studio, the syndicate is like a magic is there, a magic in the ear that we don't have to talk to each other. We just feel each other. And musically, and things. It's a feel.
When we're talking about signature parts, because it's very true, you guys have created signature parts. I mean, there's something to be said for a great guitar player, great bass player, great drummer, but creating like these blips in the timeline that have changed things, created something new.
Archetypes.
We're talking about, you know, something as great as like the flying cymbal. We have to talk about
that Flyers guitar too.
And the Flyers guitar, that long skank.
Yeah, it go together with the Flyer cymbal.
We have to talk about, and I was just talking to this with someone in the Jason Mraz thing that I was doing, but Stalag 17. We have to talk about the way that, I mean, this song has been sampled by Kanye West, Lauryn Hill, Jay-Z, Public Enemy, Beyonce, Too Short, the list goes on and on.
Sister Nancy,
of course, took the Ansel Collins tune and made it a huge hit with Bam Bam. Now, there's something about the lock of the bass and drums, everything surrounding it. And Santa, can you walk us through that?
Okay, so just like I said, we never ever know what we're gonna do in the studio from one day to the next.
Yep.
You just told You're just told to come to the studio, and you come to the studio. And then, boom, it happens
Music.
in the studio. We call it the studio magic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we went into the studio, and we were doing a bunch of stuff. And Ansel Collins was a keyboard player. And he said he had a song. And he was like, it's just a 2-card thing, man. It's a 2-card thing.
Mhm.
Okay, whatever, you know, a 2-card song. All right, fully, come. And I used to, because I grew up around Ras Michael, and we used to play the Naya Bingi. Chuk, 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 taka chuk, 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 taka chuk, 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 tika taka chuk, chuk, right? So, if you listen to that song, I'm playing Naya Bingi. Because I
Boom,
thought
boom.
of, okay,
Ba-doom,
okay, him
boom.
say that, him say that 2-card tune. Okay, all right, you know what? Let me find something that's gonna propel this song. So I just started playing Naya Bingi, baka-doom, doom, taki-tuka, and then fully all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom,
Came alive, yeah.
Bayuga, boom,
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 boom, doom, doom, ba-doom, boom.
Shoot.
Man,
That's so cool to hear that the Nyabingi angle to that, because now that you're saying that, I'm listening to those drums. It's like, yeah, that's totally the inspiration for it.
Yeah. It's, you know, people think it's not funk, it's not anything.
Right.
I am, because people would listen to it and interpret it a different. I am playing. I can tell you what I was doing. I'm
Right.
playing Naya Bingi.
That's so cool, man.
Naya Bingi I am playing, and then fully come in, and he was the bass drummer and the bass guitar. You know, that the big Naya Bingi bass
Right.
drum, fully was boom, like boom, right? So, but he just, and that's the thing, I tell you, I got to talk about George Fullwood.
Yes.
That's the kind of animal he is. You don't have to, if you, look, okay, it's fine. You can tell Fully to play a bass line, but it's best if you don't.
just leave it.
Because the line you're going to tell him to play is not going to work. Let him do his thing. And that was the magic in the studio, you know, because you have to think on the fly. People used to say, how you guys know what to play, how to play? It's like, I don't know. We just
We
played.
didn't know what to play.
It was right there. And the
Just
thing
came
is,
up.
the thing is this, people didn't have time to waste. Okay, people didn't have budget. Like, okay,
Time is money.
in America, I hear people take months to make one record. Back then, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, wait a minute. They take a year to work on that project? What? No, this guy only have 2 hours in the studio. and he wants 10 songs in 2 hours.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so figure that
You don't have
out.
time for more than 2 chords. That's it.
And,
Yeah.
and even if you have more cards in there, it's got to be one take. You can't
Yeah.
be doing 2 and 3 and 4 takes.
It's true.
So you make sure you and this is why musicians were chosen, because you have to be quick on your feet. You got to be quick up here too, because people, if you can't cut that mustard, man, nobody gonna call you, and that's why we used to get calls. Because
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and the reason for that, going back to what I told you earlier, because we used to come together and rehearse, just rehearse. We don't have a gig, we don't have anything, but we used to rehearse. So that cohesiveness, that tightness, that togetherness was there. So we would just because of us practicing every day, we just come to the studio and everything was like butter, you know, like magic, you know. We could just come up with ideas, whatever. Yeah, ready. I say, yeah, ready. I said, ready. Roll tape, boom, and we go in, and we do song after song, and people say, so how you? Because people ask me that all the time. So how you guys know? I say, I don't know. We just react. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like it's just like within, you know, if you know about. I mean, I'm not a military guy, but for what I learned from people, they adapt to situations out in the field, right? You know, they have a directive, but then they go out there and it's not the way it was on paper. Like, oh, wait a minute, this is not this bridge is not there, or this ravine ain't there. So we got to figure, you know what I mean? So you got to react right, because you're gonna be killed if you don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like we kind of put ourselves in that mind frame, like, oh, wait a minute, if we don't come up with something like this quick,
Right.
nobody's gonna call us. So that was the thing, you know.
Tony,
Yeah,
Tony.
touching on that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, always each song that a song that we did and thing. you know, we didn't rehearse those songs. When times we rehearsing, we just writing for itself. But those each song that we play in the studio and thing never been
No.
rehearsed.
Well, it wasn't rehearsing those songs.
Right.
We just
No, it
rehearsed
was
by
rehearsing
ourselves.
those. Yeah,
We
just make
practice.
people
Wow.
understand, right?
Just to get tight and
Right.
whatever.
So
Right.
those
With
each song
us.
came out on the spot. Yeah,
Right.
go on, Divine.
What-
Right, say now.
Was that the whole idea, or was that the same thing when you worked with Bob? Songs like "Sun Is Shining," "Small Axe." Was it that mentality? Were you guys already in awe of what Bob was doing, or was it just another day in the studio?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to hear the Wailers them on the radio and I dance. Sing my dongle them tune there before I play music. So the first time I get to meet Bob, we going to the studio around his lead scratch was upset as he used to manage Bob, produce Bob
Right.
and thing. And when Scratch tell us to come at the studio, I didn't know that it was the Wailers going to be there and thing. So when we go walking around this, Bob there, Bob Bonnie and Peter and things. So Baba show the guitar upon Sun Is Shining, you know, overplayed. I never used to play with my little finger, and I couldn't play it. I couldn't understand how it go and thing. And Bob get vexed with me, because Bob is a very man serious in the music. I'm say, boy, the blood clot why? You can't play the guitar. We are there. I say, Bob, go suck your mum. Me never tell me to suck your mum. But I get back aggressive back at him, because if somebody, me don't care who he is, come at me, me will get back to you. And thing. And we have a brother named Clean Douglas in there who was playing with us too. And if eventually the argument cool down and the song record. And that was the history of that. Sun Is Shining, Lee Scott Perry. Now there's a next song that we did that the people don't know. We did a rhythm called Duppy Conqueror. Now, when the song released, it came out as Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
And Lee Scott Perry re-record over Duppy Conqueror with Family Man them. So the one here with Duppy Conqueror, that's Family Man. But when you hear Mr. Brown, that rhythm was made for Duppy Conqueror. That never make for no Mr. Brown. They just change the words and the rhythm. The progression at the Duppy Conqueror progression. So that the people don't know the history of that. So that our first relation with Bob them. And from that, Bob and my left for boy. We do show with them around Kings. And I remember I did a show at a theater, King's Theater. I back up a lot, John Noel, everything. That's the first time I saw Ziggy Marley. He came out here dancing, him and him, I think, and his sister. And I asked, who them kids that dance? And say, about picnic them, you know. First time, Ziggy was like you then. You remember Santa? I would have played King's Theater. Santa, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
yeah. You remember the King's
I'm
Theater?
listening, bro.
Oh, yeah. We'd have Tamblin for the show, John Wall, Johnny Clark, and a whole part of artists, and Bob them was headliner. I think. So that next history there.
Wow.
So that's our first
Well,
relationship
okay.
with Bob.
So I have an experience with that
Yeah.
session.
Yes,
That same session. My
Sun Is Shining,
experience.
yeah.
So okay. So we talk about musical genius. Talk about musical genius in studio antics. No, Lee Scratch Perry was all of that. Musical genius
Yeah, man. It was a one of a
in
kind.
studio antics and visionary. Because don't get me wrong, Lee Scratch Perry was one of the visionaries. He was one of the only men in Jamaica as a man in the production business that I can say honestly. He was actually an arranger.
Right. So he doesn't fit the mold of what you were talking about earlier about producers sitting on their car outside.
No.
Lee Scratch
He can't tell
Perry.
you.
I'm just going to be
Wow.
honest about Lee Scratch Perry. But so here's Lee Scratch Perry now. In the studio, he would always be thinking, how can I be different? That old Whaler sound in the early days, if you listen to that song, Duppy Conqueror, that is the whole Janko Skank idea.
Yes.
Or if you listen to the rhythm format, the way it's played, tank, 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 ching, ching, go, ching,
Yeah,
ching,
man.
ching,
Dum,
ching.
dum.
Instead of check, check,
Check,
check.
right.
No, right? You call it a downbeat
Drum
or
cup.
upbeat or whatever. Okay, so now, so check this out. So, okay, so the Mr. Brown idea was actually Duppy Conqueror. So we did it, and I spoke to Bunny Whalers after, a while back, you know, many years ago, and he was saying that after the rhythm was made, you know, them listened to it and it never really fit
all of
what
thing.
they wanted. So, you know, at the time, the Upsetters, which was Carly and Family Man and Glenn Adams,
Yeah.
and
Reggie.
and another guitar player named
Reggie.
They went back in the studio and redid it, but they kept the original one that we did. Okay, but the day in the studio, it was a slight like a comedy situation. So I'm in the drum booth now. Remember, I'm green. I just fell off the damn turnip truck, so I'm just like this young, you know. And imagine I'm in the studio with the Wailers, the Wailing Wailers. My goodness, everything on me was shaking. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because these are the big man of the time. You know, I grew up listening to these brothers. I know I'm in the studio with Bob, Peter, and Bunny. And these guys was no joke. They don't be laughing and cracking jokes.
Yeah, man.
They were militant and serious. Like, whoa, you know? So anyway, so I'm in the drum booth. Sun is shining. So we're going to the sun is shining. And I rolled off, started the song. Scratchberry come in the booth and said, I don't want to hear none of that thing there. He said, I don't want to hear none of that. I just want you to just do this one. This drum and this drum. That's it. Uh-oh. Now remember, at the time, I mean, I can do it now. I could do it then, but it was natural. Because your hi-hat is really like your balance.
Yeah. You're like what Bobby Aitken said.
Right.
So anyway, so he said to me, I don't want to hear none of that chick in this song. And then he walked away. And then he turned right back. You know what? As a matter of fact, give me that. And he took my hi-hat.
And your broomstick.
What?
He took my hi-hat out of the studio. He said, you know what? You might make a mistake and touch it. He took away the hi-hat. So now I don't have a hi-hat to play with.
Right.
And if you listen to that song, the original version is just snare and kick. Only because he wanted a certain effect.
Sound, yeah.
Every song was like chick all the time. And he was the type of visionary. Look, I need space. I need to hear some room in the music. You know? And he would do these funny things. He would come and say, you know, back then people young and fit, and he would do a dance. And you know, Lee Perry is not a tall guy, you know what I mean? But he would do a dance and he would stretch and jump to the next side of the studio and said, look, I want to be able to talk to my friend over here and go over there and have a smoke in time to come back and catch the rhythm over here. And that was his way of saying, look, I need this music to have some space, some silence. I don't want all that stuff going on. So if you listen, and that's the way Lee Perry was. Lee Perry was one of the visionaries within reggae music. And Lee Perry is the one who created that whole Wailers, that Bob Marley Wailers. If you listen to, a lot of the time when Lee Perry sings, you can hear Bob Marley. The way you hear Bob Marley sing, you hear Scratch Perry, you say, oh, wait a minute. Oh.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the melodies and everything.
Yeah,
right.
he was kind of like that kind of thing. And because they were around each other all the time, I guess it kind of rubbed off. You know what I mean? Because of course, Lee Scratch Perry was a mentor to Bob and the rest of the guys. You know what I mean? He was their producer at the time, working with them. You know what I mean? But that's it. But that's the way. Oh, you know, Lee Scratch Perry. You know, you see all these little clips with him in the studio doing stuff, and he's really doing something. It seemed like he's crazy, but but that's good because all of us are crazy. I mean, to be a musician, to be a composer, you gotta have a little bit of kinkiness in you. Like, you gotta be off a little bit, you know, in order to do the things that we do. You know what I mean? You can't be just Mr. Straight Lace. You know what I mean? You know,
Right.
So and that was that. And then we did those 2 songs. Remember, Tony?
Yeah, man.
We did that Mr. Brown rhythm.
Yep.
And we did it Sun is Shining. And also at the studio called Dynamic Sound, we did a song. It was kind of like a ballady kind of song by the name of High Tide, Low Tide, something like that.
And did a next song named Cornerstone. We did Cornerstone.
Oh, that's a great
You
one.
might do the Cornerstone.
The next cornerstone.
The next Cornerstone.
Yeah.
Man, you know, we did a bunch of stuff. So you know, the thing is this, our involvement.
Wait, sorry to cut you off. So that's you guys on High Tide and Low Tide?
Yep.
Yeah.
Santa? The one that's on the one that made it on Catch a Fire? That one, or is it an earlier version?
It's like a ballad. It's sort of like a little ballad song. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a beautiful tune.
Because the other thing is, after Lee Scott Perry, Bob go off on his own and start do his own session. That's when we used to go to Dynamic. He hired us and we play a few songs there. 5 minutes period. Because Bobby have a little shop behind Randy's. It's like a car shop named Wheel and Soul. W-A-I-L with an N in the middle and Soul. That was way before the Tough Gang and all them thing there. And I'm used to pay us. He said, so Bobby used to run his own session back in the days. So those where those songs came in.
And you guys must have impressed Bob, Peter, and Bunny, because Santa, you've played with Peter many years after that.
Well,
I want to talk about the album Legalize It. I mean, Catchy Shuby, songs like that. Were you doing drums for that whole album?
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I was working with Jimmy Cliff at the time, right? I was working with Jimmy Cliff, and then because of my involvement, me and Robbie Shakespeare, we used to do a lot of work together in the studio. So Peter was getting ready to get his band going, you know, started to record his own music and getting ready to go on the road, you know. So I was invited to the studio, right? Because that was my introduction to be the drummer for Peter Tosh's band, you know, before Slide On Bar, you know. But at the time, I was working with Jimmy Cliff. I was touring with Jimmy Cliff at the time, and it wouldn't be right at the time. That my loyalty was kind of messed up. If I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm not going to just be jumping ship and just run over here. Even though I wanted to go play with Peter, but at the time I was contracted to Jimmy Cliff. And then I went to the studio, and they said, okay, no worries, come and record a song. And that's how I did Catchy Shuby. I was supposed to do the whole album, but because I wasn't going to be the drummer for the tour, I just ended up doing that one song, you know? But that was kind of like the beginning of what is to come many years later, you know? So it was kind of cool that I had the opportunity to work with the Three Brothers when they were together as a group, and then come to work with them individually. Like earlier on, he was saying, you know, about going into the studio and working, and if that's the way Bob was. Yes, because the songs that I played on when Bob was doing his thing by himself, like Africa Unite, okay? Africa Unite, I wasn't supposed to be on that session, but I was at the studio. I was at the studio one day up at Tough Gang, 56 Hope Road. I was there waiting for Winston Rodney, Burning Spear.
Yeah.
I was going to do some work for him, and he was supposed to come. He lives in a place called Ocherias at the time, and he was coming from because I'm there waiting. So Bob came around and he saw me. He said, "Hey, what going on, man?" I said, "Man." He said, "What are you working for today?" I said, "Working for Burning Spear." He said, "Oh, okay, all right, cool." And he went back around the back. So maybe an hour later, he came back and said, the man don't come yet? I said, no, still waiting. And he went away. Then he came back around a third time. And he said, the man don't come yet? I said, no. He said, okay. Studio time there. Musician there, come make a song. That was it. I remember he was getting ready to go to Zimbabwe. They had invited him to Zimbabwe for their independence. Right? And it's so ironic that I went into the studio with him that day and he recorded Africa Unite. So I played on that song, right? And recorded the song, and Winston Rodney never came. I guess he had some transportation difficulty. So, so the next day, I recorded the song. Everything was nice, I think. So I happened to go by the studio the next day, and the engineer, he died many, many years ago. His name is Alex Sadkin, great engineer. And he saw me and he said, oh, Santa, I'm glad you're here. I said, what happened? He said, man, we have a problem. I said, what kind of problem? I said, oh, damn, I messed up. He said, no. He said, it's my fault. I didn't capture the toms. You played some wicked roles, man, some wicked fill, but I didn't capture them the way I should. Can you please come in and overdub those toms? I'm like, okay, let's see how that's going to work. Because, you know, I've never actually done overdub like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm just going to fill these toms in.
Right, that's pretty specific.
So I said, okay. So I went inside the studio and I sat down in the drum booth and I said, okay. And he started playing the tracks. And then I said, I can do this. So what I did, I mimicked the track I was playing, and then the spots where the toms were missing, I don't know. It started just, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Working in that environment in Bob Marley was always magical. It seemed like you can do things effortless, because there was an energy. There was a certain energy around Bob and in that space. So all of a sudden, I started doing these fills. And when I was done, I saw everybody, I was looking in the control room, everybody was like excited, like, yeah. I was like, man, I was like, what? Wait a minute. So I went inside. They said, man, listen to this. You seem like you know where the fills were supposed to go, blah, 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 blah. And then if you listen to that song, Africa Unite, you would think I was doing those fills while I was playing. But those are the overdubs.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Now I got to go back and listen. Now I got to go listen to this.
Yeah, all those times are overdubs. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's how that session went. Then, the next time again, okay, so I went to the studio one day. You remember when Bob, something had happened where they come and some shooting went on and he left Jamaica. He kind of went in exile in England for a while. Right? So he was out of the country for a spell, you know? And then he just came back. I didn't realize that. You know what? It's maybe 2 or 4 years ago, I realized what happened. He had just came back to the island, right? And he was recording Coming In From the Cold, right? So now, I wasn't on that session either. But I came to the studio looking for somebody in the studio. So I came to the control room, looked through the window, and there was Bob, Family Man, Tyrone Downey, I think Earl Wire Lindo, and Junior Marvin. I think it was Al Anderson. They were in there. Yeah, they were in there trying to record. I think Tyrone was on the drums, and because, you know, they used to do this, the switchy, you know, where they just because Tyrone could play some drums. But I came in and Bob looked and he saw me and he said to them, lock the door. Don't make this man leave. Don't make this man leave. Lock the door. And he said, come inside here, come in. So I went inside the studio. And he said, man, we're glad you're here, man. He said, come back, you read the play, you heard us. I said, well, yeah. So I went inside. So he said, okay, you're recording this song. And I stood beside him and he played a little riff. If you listen to Coming In From the Cold, that little guitar riff before the song. And I listened to what he did. And so yeah, ready. He said, yeah, you ready? So yeah. One take.
Wow.
That song was one take. He just did that thing, and I don't know, out of somewhere, I come up with this 10-beat roll. That ding, 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 bah. One take. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's beautiful.
And then I think we did Chant Down Babylon the same day too. So I did 2 songs that day. Coming in from the Cold and Chant Down Babylon.
Those
you know?
are the two.
So the thing is this, just like you say, that magic that happened in the studio, even if you rehearse it, you go in the studio, it's going to be a little bit different. Something is going to happen in that studio that you have to listen to. Because I can remember one time I did a session with Tootsie Bird, God bless his soul.
Yeah.
And we did some rehearse the song, rehearse. And I said to him, I said, Mr. Haybird, all this rehearsal thing we're going on with this song, you know. I just said it candid, like, I said, look, when we go in the studio, it's going to be different. So be prepared. He said, no, man, we're going to play we're going to play what we rehearse. I said, yes, that's our intention, right? So I'm telling you, there's something that goes on in the studio that even I can't explain to you, but it's going to happen. And he was like, no, man, wait. So we went to Channel 1, its studio. Went to Channel 1. And we went inside the studio and started playing the same song. You know what? I don't know if I X'd the song. I don't know. I didn't do that. I'm just telling him. It happened all the time. It just didn't sound right. Everybody was playing what we rehearsed. But it just didn't feel right.
Right.
And I said to him, see, I told you. And he got upset. So we were going back and forth. Nah, I told you. And we were kind of like quarreling, you know what I mean, in the studio. Well, it wasn't going to be a fight or anything, but we were just joining each other. And, you know, Toots, again, is not a tall guy. He's not a tall guy. So we're going back and forth at each other. You know what he did? That messed the old studio up. He pulled a chair, stood up on the chair and said, okay, I'm taller than you now. Just that. He stood up on the chair and I was looking up at him like this. He was like, see, I'm tall like you. I'm even taller than you now. So what you going to do about that? I said, let's play the music. And we recorded the song. I forgot what song it was.
I was gonna say, do you remember what song it was?
I don't remember. I don't know if it was Reggae Got Soul or some song. I don't remember.
You're
but
like
we did
some little
something.
song.
Some
Yeah.
little song.
You know, but
That's a huge one.
But because
Is that you on Reggae Got Soul?
I'm trying. I overdub the flying cymbal thing in it again, right?
Okay. Wow.
But I think we did so. I don't know if it was released. The song we did, they released it or what. I don't remember. Because it was such a long time. This was like way back early, you know. But I'm just showing you what happens when you make these pre-planned vibe and you go into the studio. And Jamaican music was magical because, as I say, you cannot predict anything. Like Bob Marley never tell you what to play. Peter Tosh, worse. That, you know, I did 2 albums for Peter, you know, Mama Africa and No Nuclear War. And we put the whole thing together, just the musicians. Peter wrote his song, he comes in the studio and he sits down and just listen to us while we put the arrangements together. And this is the reason why when you listen to Bob Marley's music, you hear that family vibe in it, because he wasn't like a micromanager. He wasn't like telling people, oh, I want you to do that. No, I don't like that. No. He allows you. That was Bob's whole thing. He allows you to play. He allows you to do what you do. You know, like he looked at me one day and he said, Santa Davis, you play drum, you know. I play guitar and I sing, you know. I can't tell you how to play your drums, you know. You can't tell me how to play my guitar and sing, because this is what I do and that is what you do. It's like you can't tell the plumber how to be a plumber. Plumber come to do plumbing work, you can't tell, oh, I want you to do the pipe like this. No, I'm not telling you not going to work like that. You know what I mean? So, but you know, that was just the whole thing, you know. That's just a little bit of the story right there.
Yeah, I don't understand. All right, it's about Peter and Bob and thing, and you play some of you plan some of Bob thing, them and thing. I'm telling individually from Syndicate, Santa, Tony, Fully and China, individually we will plan different hit songs. Them not together Syndicate, but individually.
Right.
Because like China is playing on One Love, Rastaman Vibration, and a word of Bob tune, and I'm the tune there. Bam ba da 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 da. Don't worry. That tune there.
Right.
Them big
Wow.
China playing guitar
Right.
and those. And that other Bob song. I'm doing my song with Peter. Um you know Small Axe.
Yeah.
Now him have an original one before the one. Before the Small Axe. Boom 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 boom. Da da da. That on part is a guy from Syndicate named Tenor Grand playing that horns on it. Da da da. And but before it's the Small Axe, the original Small Axe was that song named More Axe.
Right.
So I'm playing the lead guitar on it. Peter's playing the wah wah guitar.
Oh, wow.
Reggie playing the rhythm, and Carly pan drum. It named More Axe. If you go on
Yeah.
YouTube, you see it. That's the original Small Axe. And then I did a song with Bonneville that's called Dreamland. I'm playing the lead on it.
Great
And
tune,
thing
yeah.
and Reggie the same Glenn Adams and thing. And then the first time I meet in Juna Biles was that day when I did Dreamland. I did a song with Juna Biles. Was lead, all this session the lead scratch Perry.
Right.
I tune in a place called Africa. There's a
Yeah.
place called Africa.
Classic,
For,
yeah.
I'm playing the lead guitar and that and
Right.
with Reggie them and guitar and things. So I'm saying individually Syndicate get players them is all on different hit songs, and then together we are tremendous together in the studio as Syndicate. So it's let a story behind the music.
No joke,
And-
Morax, that version of Morax is I love that version, and that wah wah guitar is really
Peter
really
Tosh.
man.
Peter Tosh playing that wow. I'm playing the picking, the
The whole
percolating.
all the guitar on that, just the way to me that's the one. Like when if I'm making like a mixtape for somebody or whatever, and I
Bram,
want to put
Bram.
Small Axe on it. Morax is the version I always put on.
You get it's
That's,
a
that's the one.
And also to add to that, we were paid by these people.
yes, we got
Alright.
paid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
The,
hurt.
the Wailers,
the
Bob
paid.
Marley, Peter Tosh, one of the Wailers, they paid us. 'Cause
Nice.
they understood the value. They
Right.
they respected the value of musicians. So I can say that without any apology. Bob
And
Marley,
what-
Bob Marley paid me money, session
Yes.
fee. Bob Marley paid me session fee that didn't exist in Jamaica at the time. You know, he personally wrote the check to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah.
And that's the way those brothers were, man. Peter Tosh, he just give me a handful of money. Like, whoa, wait a minute, what's this? You know, and that's
Wow.
the way. One of the way is the same thing. You know what I mean? So I have
That's
to
great to
give it
hear.
up. I have to give it up. That's my experience. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know. So out of all the other people, you know, these brothers they take care of the musicians. You know.
Right. That's so good to hear, and it's such an important thing because you said they recognize the value, and I
Yeah.
talk to people in bands all the time, and it's like that's the key to it. It's like you might be the one who's writing the lyrics, let's say, and because of the way our legal system works or whatever, like you feel that you're entitled to the lion's share
Right.
of the money from the tune. But what
Right.
you don't realize is that if you're not going to pay if you're going to take all the money and not pay your bandmates or whatever the situation might be, then you got to really have a honest conversation with yourself about what you think their value is, because
Right,
if you
right.
value them but you're not going to pay them, then they're gonna
Right.
leave, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and your music's
Yeah.
not going to sound the same anymore. So like I always tell people, like, don't look at like the letter of like, okay, well I wrote the lyrics so I should get the lion's share. It's like if you're a band, split the money because it just
Right.
if you value each other, then that money is the first thing that's going to ruin it all, So just
Exactly,
like,
exactly. But you know, the thing is this: the way all the Wailers came up. You know what I mean? Bob Marley went through struggle. Peter Tosh went through struggle. Bonnie Wailers was a little bit different because he had a dad who was a contractor. He had a little money over there somewhere. You know what I mean? But that still didn't make it any different. He understood, the struggle. He was in it too. He had to. It was not everything was all great. He had to go find his. You know what I mean? So the thing is this: with Bob and Peter and Bonnie, they understood, the input of everyone. You know what I mean? And knowing that, okay, we wrote the lyric and stuff like that, but if it wasn't for the bass player who came up with that wicked line and the drummer who laid down that strong beat and the keyboard player the song wouldn't be anything,
Right.
and that's why I love these brothers, even though they ain't here no more, but they're still here, and that's it's just a lot. It's just maximum respect, man, because
Yeah.
they understood the value. They respected the value of the musicians around them. Peter Tosh, it's come on, man. That I used to remember, when I'm in Jamaica, Peter would go to New York, and then I would go pick him up at the airport lots of times. And as he come out of the plane, he's like, put a bundle in my hand. I was like, whoa, Christmas, So and that's the type of people they were. They didn't think that, oh, I'm better than you. I'm the star. I'm the man. They were just like, I am you. You're me. That's and that's the feeling you get. Tony can tell you that. Bob Marley was a people person. Peter Tosh,
Yeah.
they didn't see themselves like, oh yeah, come and bow at my feet. They weren't into that kind of crap.
The
It's
fun thing is,
superstar business and all that kind of stuff. So,
the last time I saw Bob, you were there, Santa. You wasn't about Bob, but you were there on that tour with us with Uri. Uri is the next artist that we are very close with. We do a lot of tour with them and shows. In Paris, the last time I saw Bob, but it was 1980 in France. I went to Bob Hotel and thing because I that was passing through, and Judy Moore met me in the lobby, and it took me up to Bob's suite. And Tyron Doney, the first person I met at the door, and he came up to the Tony, blood clot, long time, because Tyron Doney, who used to play keyboard for Syndicate before he was playing with Velas. Bob took him from us because we used to do a show with Tyrone Syndicate named Case of the Ballad Rooster. We used to play around Jamaica, and Tyrone was a keyboard player. So Tyrone greet me and said, Tony, say a few tune we using that open the show with Wheelers. I said, well, which tune that? He said, Stalag. Them use, when them introduced Bob, come on, them play Stalag rhythm. Boom, boom. Marley,
Yeah.
boom, Bob Marley, and the bass time use.
Wow.
And him, I'm telling you, then him carry me in a bar room. Skill Cole was in the room, and the next dread, I'm saying, Baba, play the ratchet knife, I play, and him face look so keen. I'm saying, blood bleed. And the first thing Bob said, he must say, Tony, you doing a thing. He said, Tony, tell me something, are you and Fully? Is what for Carol? I said, Bob, what's wrong with you, man? Now, Carol is this white girl live in San Francisco. Whenever a band passed through, she's the one that took them out to the grocery store, took them to the lounge, whatever. So when Vela was touring through San Francisco, she had the one that kind of drive them around. So when Syndicate, I don't remember if Santa knew Carol. When Syndicate came through, she had the one who really, she's a kind of big girl like and things. So obviously when Bob and Wheelers passing through, she must have mention us to Bob them and things. So Bob asked him if it's me and Fully I do, Carol. We said, no, Bob. Then we talk a little while and thing, and then that's the last I saw Bob, man. And then that a year, and that's it. That's my experience the last time with the Bob.
In France. With
Yeah, we
Uri,
went
huh?
and tour with Uri in
Wow.
France. Sandra remember that tour. And wow, what that the next story again, the next story altogether.
There's so many stories, and
Uri
we
is very,
we've gone almost 2 hours now, so we gotta
Wow.
we gotta almost wrap it up. But we gotta have you guys back on because there's so many. I wrote down like 20 questions. I didn't even ask
Same
any
here.
of them because these stories are so good. We gotta
Right.
do
the
a
half
Soul
has never been
Syndicate.
told. The half
I
has
know,
never been
right,
told.
never been told.
Jeez,
One more
man.
thing I like to mention.
Please.
My friend, and give thanks and blessing to Jeff Algrove. Him and I
Yes,
is
big
doing
ups to
some
Jeff.
production videos and thing. I did a song called Herbstone. It's Lil Nas. It's a hip hop song by Lil Nas. I just rewrote it, took the melody and rewrote it and called it Herbstone. And Jeff Algrove was the master behind that video. I
Nice.
did with him, and we're planning on doing some more. few and things. So big
Yeah,
up
big up,
and
Jeff.
enough respect to the man, Jeff Algrove at
For sure.
Right Vibes Production.
Jeff
One
is-
love to that.
Jeff has been a very good friend of the show and helped us get some amazing artists like yourselves. And yeah, so big up, Jeff. Thank you for
Yes,
for all
man,
you
he's a
do,
brains,
man.
man.
And also, before we go, can I make a plug?
Please do,
Please,
both of
yeah,
you.
like-
Santa, you first.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, let the people know that Santa Davis have music out there.
Please.
Here we go on iTunes and Amazon or Spotify, whatever. You can get Santa Davis CD, Watch Your Liberty, the name of the album, and also Africa Is My Home, So, yeah, I actually released that Africa Is My Home just right before COVID,
Mhm.
Wow.
And I just see I'm in the studio right now working on
Yeah.
some new things. So, yeah, just check it out, 'cause- and Tony have some music to see all about, because you know what
Yeah, man.
we are, this is how we get rid of the boredom, you know what I mean? And
We
you
keep
know
the
what I mean?
music.
And just keep. I'm in my little room, just what.
All
Yeah,
right.
man, but you know what, man? As I say, we could keep talking for the next
Yes.
10 hours, but let's do it again, man.
Please,
have
there's
to.
just
I
so
don't
much to
mind.
talk about. There's so
Just
much
set
to
it
talk
up,
about.
bro.
I learned so much.
With fully, I
With
wish
fully, that would be
Next
great
time
if
we
you could
bring
get
in
fully
Fully,
on,
awesome.
because I learned so much tonight. Just the flyers being named after the chicken, and
Yeah.
I never knew
Kentucky
that.
Fried Chicken. Yeah, man.
And it was
Yeah,
good to
man.
hear you. It was good to hear you confirm I had heard that story about Scratch taking your hi hat for "The Sun Is Shining," but
Yeah,
I didn't
man.
know. It's nice to hear you confirm that. You know what I mean? Because like you were saying, also,
No,
like,
he took
you
it.
hear things, but it's it's nice.
I
to
mean,
hear.
I just said, I mean, at first it was really hilarious because it was like he went away and he came back and said, as a matter of fact, give me this.
Here, take it quick. Now remember, I was watching you. I was watching you with the Johnny Clark interview. I was
Right.
mentioning one of your favorite songs was "Move Out of Babylon."
Yes.
And me and Santa and Robbie Shakespeare on that tune there. And think that
Yeah, man.
the tune there.
Classic.
I mean, listen. To me right now, I am happy to be a part of that fraternity
Yeah.
of
Yeah, it
musicians.
is, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even though, we didn't get the justice that I think we really deserve, you know what? The fact of the matter is, we touch a lot of people. Because even to this day, people would inbox me and, people see me and they still talk about Soul Syndicate. So you know what? I just say, you know what, man? Before I just go and curl up in a corner and woe is me kind of thing, I'm happy for the people who still recognize that, hey, we did something for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And that is part of my happiness. 'Cause just like I tell you, bro, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm really honest. If it was money, I wouldn't be doing this. I'll be driving a truck or working somewhere lifting boxes or something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Totally.
If it would, I'd be a security guard in Walmart or somewhere. You know what I mean? But because I love music and I love the fact that when I go out there, I make people happy. I say, you know what? Hey, all right, I'm doing some good in the world, then, And a lot of musicians who I run into, they're like, man, the first time I saw you, man, I bought a drum kit. Whoa, man. I see bass players. I say, man, I didn't play drums, but man, because of you, I say I got to pick an instrument up. So I'm like, So I feel like I'm making a contribution to the goodness of humanity.
I mean,
so that's why I keep doing it, man.
I can confirm that I can just be, add myself and Roger to that list of people who tell Tony and Santa that is absolutely true. Myself as a rhythm guitar player in reggae, like I listen to Tony
Yeah.
and just, just study like little things and okay, like that's that kind of like the feeling Hux Brown, like you were mentioning. And
Oh,
Yeah, Ox, man.
that's just, that kind of thing. And just even though I play guitar, like listening to me, drums, drums is just the foundation of the whole thing in terms
Yeah,
of like,
tell me
when
the roots.
and when I'm a guitar, in the studio playing rhythm guitar, what I'm really dialing into is the hi-hat, and I know if I'm locked in with that, then like we're going to be on the same, the same, and all that comes from just listening to you two, and the music of Soul Syndicate and, Fully and Chinna. And so definitely I can confirm what you're saying, so
man.
thank
Other
you
than-
both so much.
Other than,
Well, one more thing.
Yeah,
Quick.
other than Tony, And Chino, he was another guitar player. He passed away a couple of years ago. That I always loved playing with him. And just like you say, oh, you listen to the hi-hat.
Yeah.
I could use him for a hi-hat. Both
He's bad.
You remember his name is Bo P.
Oh yeah.
Bo P, yeah, man.
Bo P. I could use that guy for a
That
hi-hat.
guy's awesome. Yeah.
A lot of times I'll be in the studio working with him, and I would stop playing the hi-hat, and it sounds like a vibe.
You did it. Bo P
Because
awesome.
he was so on to the vibe, you know?
Nice.
So there was a couple of musicians that I can say, man, you know, and of course Tyrone Downey, you know, Earl Wire Lindo. Come on, man.
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
Answer Collins.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Tony. Yes.
Yeah, I just plug my album. I have an album come
Please.
out in the next 2 weeks named Unstoppable. You know, it's mixed and engineered and produced by me and Raymond Valles. And then I have a next one named All About Love, you know, engineered by Mike Irwin, produced by me and Mike Irwin. So those two albums coming out soon. And
Nice.
thing. So things is going. It's on all social media when it comes out.
Right.
Processing.
That's-
I'm here processing a couple of. So we're just busy. We're not just sitting down slouching. You know,
Yeah, we're
right
making
now,
music, man.
Yeah, we just keep it going, man. Yeah.
Well, when those two albums drop, when new music drops, we got to have you guys on again for sure.
Yes.
Oh yes,
'Cause
man.
like Devin said, there's just too much to cover. I'm already expecting a round 3, round 4.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
quarterly,
Yeah,
every
we
4
can-
times a year.
We can make this an annual thing.
Perfect.
Rock
More
it.
than that. Yeah, people,
Rock
you know, everybody listening who's watching right now and who's listening, you know, after the fact on the podcast, please, you know, as Tony and Santa were mentioning how so many years went by without the proper compensation. Now is your chance. You go, they got music out right now where you can go
Yes.
buy it and you put, you know, make sure, you know, that they're getting some justice now, and not
Yes,
to mention
sir.
that the music is just top notch because these are, you know, these are the guys, you know. So if you want to go get some good reggae music, listen to Santa's new record and Tony Chin's upcoming new music.
Because
won't be
to be
disappointed.
honest, bro, I never like doing stuff like this. Like I'm, you know, trying to beg people because I just feel that that's kind of
Oh, for
hicky.
sure, for sure.
I'm never like doing that. But
For
you
sure.
know,
Yeah.
you know, we need the support, and I don't want to make music that just sits in a corner
Oh, no.
and people don't enjoy it. Just like I work for other people and for numerous, you know, people in the business, I make some music. I would like people to enjoy it too. So it's out there, you know, just on YouTube, iTunes and Spotify, wherever, you know, Amazon, it's there, you know.
Yeah.
Robert and
Nice.
Devin,
Yeah,
you gotta
it's all
have
good,
part
man.
2. You gotta have
Yeah.
part.
Yes.
We're gonna do 3
Yeah,
and 4 and
because
5.
Half
Yeah,
the
man.
story have never been told yet. We never tell it. Enough of most of the songs them that we really did. That you'll be
But-
surprised.
But I must say, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank
Tony
you very
on, know.
much, man. Yeah, man.
Really
No
appreciate
respect.
it, man.
No
We
respect.
appreciate it
Appreciate
so
you.
much. It's really our pleasure, and thank you so much for sharing these stories with us. I'm glad to hear you guys are down to come back on because we'd really
Yes.
love to
man.
have
Yeah,
you.
man. Yeah,
And you know, until then, Tony, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just saying that you guys is keeping the reggae movement on, keeping it strong. And God bless the guys, I tell you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's people like
Man,
you.
blessing.
And this is why it's so important to say this, you know. It's people like you who make us relevant.
Yes, it's true.
People like
God
you
bless
and
you, man.
your program and your listeners, people like you guys that keep us relevant. Because when you're willing to have a conversation with us, and I mean, you know, that's like millions of dollars. You know what I mean? That's like millions of dollars to me. Just
Nice.
having the conversation, speaking with the people that listen to you guys. I mean, I couldn't ask some more, bro.
And not even that, you guys
Exactly.
are musicians. So you
Yeah.
understand everything that we are talking about. That's the
Right.
good thing about it. You play
Yeah.
music, so you know what we are going through and what you understand it.
It's relatable.
Well, we
Relatable.
appreciate we appreciate those words, and I mean, definitely, we look. You know, Roger and I have looked up to both of you and the whole crew for so long, and you know, I think it's safe to say that you guys and the whole Soul Syndicate gang will always be relevant. It's music that people love all over the world, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So we want to really thank Mr. Santa Davis and Tony Chin for coming on, and we will talk to you guys very soon. Be safe until the next time we see you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
And
man.
hopefully-
Brothers.
hopeful Full might be able to join
Yes,
this
please,
meeting.
let's
Oh,
do
we
Then
go
there'll be a
drag
whole
it.
story.
We
gonna-
won't even. I'm not even going to write down any questions for that one. Roger,
No, we go-
Yeah,
back.
we just
we
let
go-
you
guys,
just let
we
us
gonna
go.
find a way. We gonna find a way to tie him up and just put him in,
I love
put
it.
him
I
in a
love
chair.
it.
All right. Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll
Thank
talk
you,
to you
guys.
soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Yes. So
It's
fun.
It's hard to say like you have a favorite show, but that could have been
That might have been my favorite show.
that might have been that's up there because like you said, you could just not come, just let them speak. I love it. It's so, dude, and we haven't even covered.
There's I had so many questions written down, and I didn't need to ask any of them because.
It's like the iceberg of Soul Syndicate.
And
know,
to
the
me-
whole iceberg thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
we
for
just
sure.
covered the tip.
We just got the tip, and
That's
just hearing, man, the Flyers thing blew my mind. I was like, wow, like to think of something that's so, it's you think of it as it's part of. It's like Jamaican music 101, right? It's like One
Right.
Drop and the Radix beat and the Flyers, and
Yep.
I never even really thought to myself like, why are they called the Flyers? It just always was what it was called, flying hi hat, flying
KFC.
cymbals, and like the chicken was called the Flyers. That's beautiful. I'm never gonna forget that. And the John Crow skank. I mean, that's huge. Like
That's
to
huge.
give that a name, so we don't have to be in the studio being like, like on Blood and Fire, or like the guitar's kind of doing this, just to be able to be like the John Crow skank on this one. Beautiful. That's so good.
and then
I'm so stoked.
even mentioning Cox and Dodd, just being like, well, that's Rocksteady.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Joe Isaacs
Oh, man.
slowing down the sky. I mean,
We got
I
to do
love
a quarterly Soul Syndicate
right.
show until they get all their stories out. All right. Well, we have gone. This has been a record. We're almost 2.5 hours into this
Is it
show.
a record?
Yeah.
I thought our last record was Miguel, I think, right? So we
Oh,
gotta-
it might have been.
Remember that
but
one? That was long.
This might
It was
be
great.
This might have. No, I think this might have eclipsed it.
Yes.
This might have eclipsed it.
New
And we
records
didn't
being
even,
set.
and to say that we didn't even really get to everything is just a testament to how much there's to talk about. But since we do have to wrap it up, we want to really
Yeah,
quick
man.
give a shout out to some really special people. And Roger, you wanna handle?
Yeah, we got the Rootsland podcast. Go check this out, please.
Yes.
It's presented by Consequence of Sound. The host is Henry Ko, and he's a great storyteller. You got to go check this out because, I'm not even going to say anything. I just go hit play. It's very opposite of the norm on that podcast. Go check that out. Songs from Scratch with Nate Feinstein. Me and Devin, we were on one of the episodes. So
We were indeed.
go look at the archive.
Still got to
and-
get him my vocals. Anyway,
Oh,
move
no.
on. Move on.
That was fun. Our great friend of the shows. He's been on twice. Clinton Fearon, A Sunday with and Talk with a Friend. Go check out his Facebook and his Instagram.
That is the best live stream on the internet.
I have to say, I agree with you right there. Now here we go. Los Angeles ska history of LA ska, celebrating Southern California ska and reggae scene. Eric Kohler and the crew right there. History of LA ska, and on Instagram. Chuck Foster, ever since we were listening to reggae, we were fans of Chuck Foster. He's been doing huge things here in LA. Chuck
And we're going to
Foster's
have him
Reggae
on the show
Central.
sometime sooner than later.
Yes. Oh, man. I'm looking forward to that one. Junior Francis, another cornerstone of Los Angeles reggae and ska music.
He's
Go
someone
check
else
out-
we're going to have on the show.
Oh, jeez. His reggae show is awesome. I just love the way Junior introduces anything in the world. He's got it's beautiful.
Yep.
He's a poet, doesn't even know it. Every Saturday night from 8 to 11, go check out his show. And, of course, Dub Club, the hottest reggae night in Los Angeles, if not all of America. I don't know. It's up there. Every night you go to Dub Club, it's just an event. It's not your stereotypical DJ kind of reggae thing, because we have a lot of those, and we're fortunate in Los Angeles. We have a lot of those going on. They can't do anything live right now, so go check them out on Twitch. I think they're actually... Don't they start? What time do they start tonight?
Tonight, yeah, that's one of the reasons we got to cut this. You're going to be on in less than an hour, 9 p.m. Go check them out on Twitch, twitch.tv/dubclubla. I'm telling you, we wouldn't be plugging them if it wasn't the best.
Oh, man.
And DJs Boss Harmony and Tom Chastain have deep cuts, and they're not just like these DJs who like have deep cuts, but you're like, okay, that's rare for a reason. It's like, whoa, every time you're like, these are scorchers. So good. Go check that out. For sure, that's tonight. And one of these days we'll give you guys our bonus. We started this show when we were trying to get it started. We did a bonus episode. Well, we didn't know what this show would be, and we decided to go interview the Dub Club DJs, and we've got that audio still, and we're trying to figure out
When Devin
what to do
and
with
I
it.
wanted to start this show, it was obviously pre-COVID, and our first attempted it was to do an on-location interview with Tom Chastain, Boss Harms, Tippa from Dub Club, and so once we edit that down, that's a
exists.
special.
It exists. It's good. It's good stuff, man. And it's all pre-COVID, so it's gonna be like. It's going to be really nice to just kind of like look back on that. And it's our only it's our only we'll have hopefully, God willing, we'll have a lot of post-COVID episodes, but
yes,
that's our only pre-COVID episode. We'll let you guys hear that at some point soon. Since we do got to split, we want to really quickly tell you what we got coming up. And I will speak for the two of us that we have on May 12th, the man, Winston Jarrett, is going to be on with us. This is deep roots music. Roger and I both had the chance to play with Winston Jarrett once in Seattle many, many years ago. Mm-hmm. Just old school Studio One artist and recording, all through the 70s. Just when you talk about roots music, Winston Jarrett as a vocalist and a songwriter is just at the top of the list. So we are beyond excited to talk to him. And then Roger, you and I are getting to do some DJing live very soon.
Yes, I cannot remember the last time we shared the decks together. May 8th at the Mermaid. The Mermaid is an amazing spot in Los Angeles. They same owners used to own a place called Bar One, and I had just many years spending at Bar One, many memories. That was like my residency, and Devin had joined me on many of those.
Yeah,
I think it was a weekly thing I had going on for many years. So, anyways, come to the Mermaid May 8th. We will both be spinning. Everything will be protocol as far as COVID protocol and distancing. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, if you're going to come out, I think there's an actual time limit on the tables, so it's kind of an unorthodox thing, but we live in an unorthodox time. So come out, say hi, have a drink safely, and listen to some reggae music. Some new news on my behalf. Jason Mraz, I just got done with a 2-week kind of a camp I did with him where we recorded new music, but we did this thing where we recorded a live stream, kind of pre-recorded, so you can go and buy tickets to that. It's going to be premiering May 20th and 21st. Follow that website. Devin, what do you got going on?
I am doing my songbook sessions every Tuesday at 5 p.m. at rootfire.net/TV, where I sing songs, play Expanders tunes, play Devin tunes. I got an announcement on my new album coming very soon. I can't tell you just yet, but we have some exciting news about my new record that I can't wait to share with everybody. You can also take a vocal lesson or a songwriting or a guitar lesson with me if you go to backstagemusiclessons.com. And please go follow me on Twitch, Man Like Devin, so we can do some, maybe I'll Maybe I'll talk to Roger about this afterwards and see if this is something we can do. But I was thinking maybe for the May for the May 8th DJ thing, maybe we can that can be my first Twitch live stream. Maybe we'll just set up a phone or something and just live stream the whole thing. So go follow me on Twitch. Man Like Devin is my handle, and that would be great if you did. That's the same slide. Okay, so that was our show for today. Make sure to check us out Wednesday, May 12th, when Winston Jarrett will be joining us. We got to say a big thank you to our guests, Santa Davis and Tony Chin. That was one of the greatest episodes. That's one of the best conversations I've ever been a part of, actually, just listening to all that, listening to the dynamic between the two of them. You can tell those guys are homies. That was great.
For sure.
If you have ideas for shows or any commentary for us, hit us up. The Reggae PodClash at gmail.com, or you can DM us through our Instagram, the Reggae PodClash. Remember to go check out the merchandise page at rootfire.net and clicking on the store tab. And until we see you guys again, I'm Man Like Devin.
I'm Roger Rivas.
And we'll see you next time. All right, y'all. Later.